I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello and welcome back to the Disconnected, live on another Thursday night. And once again, like I've been trying to hype up recently, we got a bunch of first-time guests this week on the show. Andy Nelson, who is the man behind CinemaScope and True Story FM and lots of other stuff we'll talk about. Andy, thanks for doing this.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here and to chat with you about all of these crazy releases that we're going to be seeing this popping up. So it's a busy week.
We have a hell of a week to cover. Let's get into some stuff about you before we check in with everybody. Tell everybody about CinemaScope, because I think that a lot of people watching the show will adore this podcast.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is one of the several film podcasts that we have over at True Story FM. And this one specifically is focusing on genres, subgenres, and film movements. And each episode looks at a specific one. And I kind of have very lengthy conversations with my guests about it, including Ryan, who is on the last episode talking about found footage horror. And so we've done Ozploitation, remake exploitation, we've done screwball comedy. It's just kind of like all over the place as far as the different types of things. And so it's a lot of fun. I'd love more people to check that one out. So that's one of the podcasts that we have. And then the next reel is a podcast where we just talk about, my co-host and I talk about a different film each week, each one kind of packaged into a little series of films that we are doing. And then we have another show called Movies We Like, which is where we bring on somebody from the industry to talk to them about one of their favorite movies. So lots of good stuff.
Lots of stuff going on. You are a busy, busy man. CinemaScope is, I don't know, it's been one of the more comforting shows, I will say, as I have in the last couple of months been forced back into the office full time, unfortunately. And it has been your dulcet tones keeping me company for a lot of that time. Two episodes that I really want to highlight if people are going to try it out tonight. And please check the link in the description below. Subscribe to Andy. Go check out the other shows. It is a really great time. Even Craig saying we were on Movies We Like. It was great.
Great conversation about Fella Day. Yep.
The two episodes, one incredible episode on blaxploitation. The films covered is a really nice breadth of films. With blaxploitation, there's a couple, I don't know, like major films that people tend to get hung up on. And with the episode, it was, everything. Because the guest was an expert, like a full-on expert of this. And incredible conversation. Completely support that one.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Odie Henderson had just, his book is out, and it's just, it's incredibly, just lots of wonderful stuff in that book. And it's like $8 for a hardback. Yeah. It's crazy how affordable that book is. Absolutely check it out. And and so we talk about 5 films specifically the episode. And then I'll do a member bonus section that has 5 additional films. And that's where we'll do the kind of the core essential films in that first section. And the last one, we play around a little bit, if it's something that's a little more obscure or kind of borders on the style, we'll talk about that. So it allows for a lot of amazing conversations. And that was one of my favorites as well.
And speaking of more obscure, I'm sure that you're not listening to the 25 shows on our podcast network, but just this week, I gave you a pretty big shout out on the Mondo Macabro podcast because
nice.
the remake, this is such a hard word to say,
I know, really.
the remake exploitation episode, man, that hit like a ton of bricks a few weeks ago when I listened to it finally, because there's so much in this genre that you can dive into that, I mean, I say genre loosely because it's a bunch of genres under an umbrella, but remake, okay, I'm done saying the word. These remake films are, they're not remakes, they're more ripoffs, and the way that you, I don't know, like in a really playful way, just tore it apart and shared all the details and mentioned, Turkish Spider-Man and all these other things for a couple hours. It was incredible. Really, really great episode. And for people that love Mondo Macabro, and TerrorVision's done a couple, Massacre Video's done one. Like, there's a bunch of these foreign ripoff movies that are in genuine appreciation, incredible on their own. They're not like, let's just laugh at all these. They're really great, very different movies that seem to have some plot lines or characters or dialogue exactly ripped out of another movie.
Yeah, it's very odd. We talked about some crazy movies in there, like the Bollywood Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff. There's one that was like it was Italian, and it was like Terminator, but also aliens.
Shocking dark.
Some strange blends of the films, and had a lot of fun digging into that one and my guest just knows so much about it. I mean, he's like studying it and it for a subgenre or a movement of films, they're not always easy to find. Luckily he had links to many of them, and he's working on trying to figure out how to do deals and stuff to restore some more of them, because that's the trick. Like Turkish Star Wars, good luck figuring out how to get the licensing for that one, So at least it's on the lower quality versions on YouTube.
Thankfully, I got the Blu-ray that was on sale for like a month a couple years ago.
Nice.
So
probably
I had
very short-lived.
Yeah, that thing is very expensive nowadays, I think.
Yeah.
True Story FM, or True, man, can't speak tonight. True Story FM. Tell everybody what the rest of this is, because there's so much to dive into.
Absolutely, yeah. True Story FM. So Pete is my co-host over on the Next Reel and Movies We Like, and he convinced me to start podcasting in 2011, and we started up the Next Reel podcast, where again we talk about a movie each week, and then COVID hit, and I had been working in production, and it kind of hit this point where there wasn't really the work that I needed. And so he's just like, just podcast with me and let's just do podcasting. And so since COVID hit, I've been just doing full-time podcasting, and it's really fun. And so True Story FM is our network, and we've got a whole bunch of entertainment related podcasts. That's where all of our movie ones fall under. And then we have a whole bunch with just a whole bunch of other clients. We have an ADHD podcast, a divorce podcast, several cybersecurity types of podcasts. So we kind of cover the whole gamut of different podcasting that we do, but that's been keeping me busy for the last 5 years, which is crazy to think about.
It's a lot of work. Believe me, as somebody that also has a podcast network, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you can really do to keep your time just completely entrenched in it. But if you're here, you love movies, so they got some options there. But hell, if you're a divorced person with ADHD and a computer virus, there's all kinds of options for you.
And you love movies too. I mean, hey.
Andy, what kind of movies do you love? You're here tonight for the first time on a physical media related show, and you don't get a ton of time to talk about physical media. So what do you love? What are you looking to buy? My favorite top five films, I would say, are Brazil, Shawshank Redemption, Charade, Lord of the Rings, I don't know, I'll say Return of the King, and Doctor Strangelove. It probably would change, if you asked me again in 10 minutes, but Brazil's been my number one. You can see the poster right here for ages and ages. So I'm all over the map, really, as far as what I like. I love
I don't know, good movies. Is that a fair thing to say? I just really love good movies, but I love exploring cinema. And as somebody who went to film school, I just I don't know, I just fell in love with just the incredible width and breadth of this medium, and just how many films and we have, and just exploring into other cultures, and just there's a lot to see. There's a lot, and it's hard to just pin down just a few, but yeah, there's a lot. And as far as physical media, it's always like, I don't know, I'm always I after upgrading to 4K, I'm just like, well, I'm only going to buy the 4K releases now. But then it's just like, oh, but this is coming out now. Well, yeah. I need that. And so, so you're still just buying all sorts of stuff. And I'm still like, I'm one of these people who has like a ridiculous number of letterbox lists and all these different things. Like I'm trying to complete these sorts of lists. And so I hit somewhere, I'm just like, this movie that I want to watch for this list isn't available unless I buy this DVD from Spain. I guess I'm buying a DVD from Spain. And so that's kind of how I am.
That's in my opinion, that's the right answer. There's so many different genres. It's so easy to just say, I want to see everything and challenge yourself. And when you're doing specifically like the shows that you cover, you kind of are forced to watch everything and just sort of flex that muscle all the time. One of the questions I was going to ask in relation to that, what's over the last, I don't know, because you've been doing it a long time. So what's over the last 6 months, the film that you discovered for your show that you went, damn, like this immediately is like one of my favorites of all time. This is incredible.
Oh man, that's a question I wish you prepped me for.
No, we got to hear organic conversation. Come on, Andy.
Oh man. Let's see, I'd say, there were some, when I did the Iranian New Wave over on CinemaScope, there were some movies that really surprised me. And I have to look it up right now because I'm totally blanking on the name of it. But there was this one movie that was like, it was like this meta storytelling film. And I was like, where are we going with this movie? And it was just really exciting to see like something unfold the way it did, and because it's about a filmmaker who's making a film about his own life when he was young, and he was more politically engaged when he was younger, and he's altercation with a police officer, and now he's casting the police officer to play the police officer, and he's playing himself. And it just like, they're acting out this story, but they're also both trying to, think about, actually I take it back. He didn't cast them to play themselves, but he got the guy to like advise. And so the police officer is like, oh no, this guy's not handsome enough to play me. And like going through all of this sort of stuff. And it was just such a fascinating movie. And I'm looking at the list right now. It was called, of course, now I can't remember which one it is. A Moment of Innocence, I think. Yeah. Directed by Moshe Makhmalbaf. And it was, I don't know. I wasn't expecting something that was like, I was kind of expecting kind of like, more dramatic, but then it took this whole meta narrative with it, and I just wasn't expecting this. As they were examining, both he and the police officer were examining their younger selves as they played this whole scene out and reliving the moments that they had and trying to like recontextualize like why they did it that way and everything. And I don't know, it was a really fascinating film and absolutely worth checking out. That was just one that really surprised me. That's the first one that came to mind.
Amazing. And now I want to see it.
Yeah, right. I don't know how accessible it is. I can't remember where I watched this, if it was a link that my guest sent to me, or if it was something I found. I might have just found it on YouTube. So A Moment of Innocence. It's definitely worth checking out.
It's from 1996. Sounds incredible.
Yeah.
With the show, have you found any of the episodes you've gotten like a higher number of engagement with listeners because it was such a we'll say like inspiring type of episode, one that really got people to pay attention and respond in a certain way for you?
I will say it's funny. You never can tell with podcasting. Sometimes you're like, it's all about horror movies. If you want to have a successful movie podcast, you got to be talking about horror movies. But I was looking at, I'm like, the Screwball comedy podcast is like through the roof. And It really surprised me because, and maybe it's just the times we're living in, who knows, but it just surprised me, pleasantly that one was one that was so well received and that people really connected with. And I've had some people really excited about a number of the releases that or the number of films we discussed. In fact, Midnight was Criterion just is putting that one out. That was one of the ones that we had discussed, which was the first time. That's another one. Totally blew my mind. I loved that movie so much. And then Criterion, I often joke that Criterion secretly is listening to our shows because every once in a while it's like, I'm like, we just talked about that like 3 months ago, and here's Criterion putting it out there. So, but anyway, so that one really kind of seemed to hit a nerve, which I'm like, maybe I need to talk about more comedy.
Well, not only that, there's not a lot of people talking about that type of comedy specifically.
Sure. Yeah.
That it's a genre that we don't really get much anymore, especially the way that we were getting back then with it being a staple every single year. Now it's like once every 7 or 8 years, you might have a really good one that you can kind of fit into that mold. But even now, like the modern ones are not the same as the ones that were coming out in the 40s and 50s.
No, yeah, it's definitely a different tone. Comedies have taken, but
everybody's saying comedy needs another renaissance and comedies are rare now. It's all about horror. Absolutely. The comedies just simply don't make money, sadly.
I do hope that Naked Gun, I see the comment about Naked Gun. It might not start it, but I am at least hoping. I'm like, hey, if Oscar Schindler can pull that off, then I'm all for it.
I'm for some reason quite hopeful about this one. Like at least the trailer, I feel like they nailed the tone kind of.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's get into some regular stuff. What have you been picking up on physical media recently? Which, by the way, incredible wall behind you.
Yeah, I bought that. I'm like, oh, this is so much space. And then instantly it was full. I'm just like, it's impossible to ever have enough. All right, you ready for this? I've got way too big of a pile that I pulled here. First of all, they're not really organized. They're kind of organized in some capacity. Well, here's the Criterion pickups that I just did with their sale. So I finally got In the Mood for Love, which I've been anxious to get, and The Grifters. This is a DVD upgrade for me because
nice.
I mean, I love the movie, but that DVD is really an old one. And then I picked up The Philadelphia Story, which I've always loved, but I went to watch it. I have the DVD still, and I opened it, and the disc is gone. And I'm like, did I loan it out to somebody? I couldn't figure it out. So I'm like, hey, guess it's time to buy it. All right, then excuse me, I live in the Phoenix area, and recently we had our version of Comic-Con, the Phoenix Fan Fusion, and lo and behold, Severin had a booth there, which was fantastic.
Nice.
I guess they have a place right here in town where they ship from. So I was like, I chatted with the team and everything. So I picked up Opera, which I've been wanting to grab.
Excellent.
I picked up the documentary about Island of Dr. Moreau, which I've been very curious to watch, Lost Souls. So very excited to see that one. Blood on Satan's Claw. So looking forward to digging into that one. And then last but not least, The Day of the Beast. So that's
love that movie.
This was largely a set of films that I'd never seen, and but I've been like very curious about. So I figured they're here, they're giving me a discount. Why not?
Speaking of that, nice prelude that next Thursday night when we're here live again, the Severin Summer Sale will be starting that night. So come hang out. We'll be chatting up and talk about all the new titles. And the guest for next Thursday is someone that has had a hand in a bunch of Severin titles. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff Severin. So come on back then. Man, you got some great discs. We had somebody ask, how do you feel, Reggie says, Andy, do you think Criterion did Brazil justice with their 4K release?
That's frustratingly one I haven't picked up yet.
Oh,
I know. I've been very reticent to grab that one yet. I've been kind of looking at all the feedback and everything. And so I really want to pick it up though anyway. So
I get that feeling.
So yeah, it's such a great movie though. It's hard for me to not want to just grab it. So
you got another comment about Midnight. Criterion's Midnight with Claudette Colbert and John Barrymore and everybody else is a great screwball comedy, beautiful Blu-ray. Yeah, supposedly that one looks great. I've not seen that disc yet, but I've heard it looks incredible.
Well, it's such a great movie. So it's an easy one to just pick up blind, I think.
Handful of pickups for me. I got a couple people that are in our Discord that I did some trades with, actually. The first one, I never got Hal Hartley's Long Island trilogy on Blu-ray, and Mr. Aaron West, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, traded me that one. So now I think I only have the one that is like $400 on eBay. So I hope somebody else puts that out eventually.
Yeah.
And then my friend Bill, we just traded for this. I've been trying to pick up some of the deluxe Jackie Chan 4Ks that have been coming out.
Ooh.
Missed this one before it went out of print. And 88 Films kind of killing it with their Jackie Chan stuff. And then forcing myself to like Jess Franco as much as I can. Blue Underground coming out with the Blood of Fu Manchu and Castle of Fu Manchu, both on 4K. Titles I never expected to see on 4K. Can watch these. I'm still waiting patiently for a couple other Jess Franco announcements coming this year. So can't wait for those. And then finally, I got two more releases here, and they are thick boys. Very, very excited about these. First is the Australian imprint release of Raging Bull. This is a 4K release. It's got the documentary from 2004 as the second disc on this. The 4K looks incredible. There's not a lot of new stuff on this disc. This is mostly just if you really love this movie and you want Dolby Vision. The Criterion release doesn't have Dolby Vision, so the colors might be slightly improved on this. To my eye, it's not that noticeable of a difference, but it looks incredible. I mean, the photography in this is like stark beyond belief. So incredible looking disc. And then if you're going to pick that up, you might as well go for the other Scorsese that came out at the same time. New York, New York, that does not have a like really nice release in the U.S. So we got this one. This is a 3-disc release. It's got the documentary from... I don't see the year on here, but this one has all kinds of new stuff. Daniel Kramer, he's had his hands in a bunch of the imprint stuff recently. He's got... that's right. It's the European theatrical cut, which is the second disc.
Gotcha.
And you've got the director's cut. This is pretty much everything you could want on this release. Kind of crazy that New York waited this long. Like I'm still surprised we don't have some Scorsese titles on Blu-ray, let alone like fancy 4K releases.
Yeah, right.
It's 2025. What are we doing?
Right. Yeah. I got to call one more out that I didn't mention, but it's only because they sent it to me. It's the Intacto disc that they have, because they were kind enough to want to use a clip of our podcast for.
Very nice.
So that's exciting. That was our first actual dip into supplemental material. So here we are with a little clip of our show that they cut into a little video essay. It's kind of fun. So
that's pretty cool. They made a visual essay with it.
Yeah. I was really glad that they did it, because it played really well with the conversation. So.
Excellent. Well, I mean, the whole point of all of these is the films. So what have you been watching recently?
Oh, well, let's see. In preparation for Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Rebirth, my wife and I decided to do a marathon, and we watched the previous 6 films over the holiday weekend. So it was a lot of dinosaurs, and I can't say it was. I mean, it was fun to watch. I really have a soft spot for just watching people and dinosaurs on screen together. But watching them all together, I'm just like, God, like every single one of these movies, it's about stupid people. Like they're just all really dumb people making really bad decisions. As much as I enjoy them. But so we watched all of those. And then we did I threw in the short films too, just because I wanted to. My wife was just like, no, I'm done. And then we took in Rebirth, which... we neither of us enjoyed, but the audience sure did. They loved it, applauded at the end, and we were just like, okay. So it was a little bit of a disappointment, but I don't know. Maybe it was because I just watched 12 other hours of dinosaurs. I'm just like, yeah, I'm out. So that was the big thing. And then Superman, I watched, which, I don't know. I've seen some comments how they've loved it. I didn't. Superman, I've always struggled with as a superhero. Like, I love the idea of Superman, but I find that it's, I don't know, just like the idea of a super character like him, it's just like, oh, there's not much he can't do unless there's kryptonite around.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, I just get a little bored. I love the original Christopher Reeve. I've struggled with all the other solo films. I don't know. I think Channing Tatum might be one of my favorite Supermen. This one, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I know that it's saying a lot of positive things and all of that sort of stuff, and people love it, and I'm sure they should. It isn't for me. And to me, it just felt like it's just another James Gunn movie. Like, this is what James Gunn makes now. It's like Guardians, the Suicide Squad. They're all like, it's his cookie cutter style, which, he delivers, I guess. I didn't like it that much.
It seems that's kind of what he got hired to deliver to. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah. I heard somebody talking about it. Like, I'll be curious to see where DC goes after this with films where he's more of the Kevin Feige type of figure, just overseeing somebody else writing and directing. I'm more curious about that.
I'm very curious to see how much of his flavor gets thrown into somebody else's movies and how they can make that jive in a way that feels consistent.
Yeah, right. Very curious.
I do want to shout out, because you got this comment. My friend Brian loves the movie Intacto, and he says the visual essay on the Blu-ray is very good.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
He sold me on that movie, and I somehow do not have my copy yet. It is on the way. Australian shipping comes from the other side of the world and takes a few days. So it's on the way.
Yeah.
I also watched Superman. I think I liked it. Sounds like a bit more than you. But also, I've never been a DC guy. I'm more of a Marvel person. And it's weird to see that shift, because I've not liked much Marvel over the last 6 years, and this came out of nowhere. I think the only other DC movie I've seen in the last 12 years is Gunn's Suicide Squad, and I feel like this was much better than Suicide Squad. The Batman stuff was, Nolan's Batman is fine. I was a Batman kid growing up, so I was fine with that. But I don't think I was ever even tempted to put in any of the Zack Snyder stuff. Nothing about that is appealing.
Well, what's funny is his 4-hour Justice League, for me, was the ultimate payoff to everything that had come before. I love that movie, which I was surprised at, because I hated the J.J. Abrams cut, and so I don't know. It just felt like he was doing something more with it, and so yeah. But I hear you, though. I know it's definitely a different universe that he was creating over there.
I had kind of a really weird week of movies. So other than Superman, I've been trying to catch up with the 2025 films that I missed in the first, 5 months of the year before I was going to the theater a lot more this year. And the one we chose this week was Wolfman, which seemed to get mostly cold responses from everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was... okay, when I say didn't hate it, I'm not going to say I loved it, but I thought it was better than average. I think that they could have really killed this story, and they only kind of killed it. Maybe it's just because everybody had prepped me for such a terrible movie. I was just like, oh yeah, Abbott is a really good actor, and he's selling this very well. I thought the way that they did the werewolf perception thing, where they changed his hearing and her hearing, was a really cool touch. The ending was not great, and a lot of it could have been much better. I will obviously grant that the writing is pretty bad, but I don't think this was the genre killer that everybody looked at Tom Cruise's Mummy or anything like that. But it was a fun time. At least it was worth it.
Yeah. Fun was something I didn't have with that one. It was it was a slog, but interesting. There were interesting elements. I will give you that.
My slog this week, I forced myself to go to an indie movie in the theater this weekend, and that was Abraham's Boys, a Dracula story. This is a movie that will be coming to Shudder in like a month and a half or 2 months, I believe. This is a brand new movie starring Jocelyn Donahue, who I loved in so many things, but most recently in The Last Stop in Yuma County. And she is completely wasted in this movie. She's a main character that is mostly just sick, and not like the cinematic sick where they're doing the Exorcist performance and she gets to ham it up or anything. No, she's just laying there sick. This movie is a very different take on a Dracula story, and essentially it's we are seeing people make the trip to California, and now they're staying on a farm in the early 1900s after leaving the whole Dracula European scene and getting caught for some of that. And I just did not like the story. I thought it was well acted, but it could have been like a 18-minute short and delivered everything that you needed to see. And instead it was an hour and 18 minutes. And I felt like I wasted an hour of my life at the very least. But the big thing, the big thing for me this week though, is I showed my kids Dick Tracy, and good Lord, is that movie fun as hell. After watching Superman and wanting to watch a different style of quotes, it's not a superhero movie, but a very comic inspired movie. Dick Tracy fit the bill perfectly. I need a 4K for this pretty much immediately. Warren Beatty acting is fine and all that, but man, the direction in this is incredible. The cast in this, I forgot how perfect the casting is. But the best thing is this feels like they got Dario Argento straight off of the Suspiria set and said, "Can you please direct this next live action season of Batman the Animated Series?" And all of the colors mixed together is so perfect. This movie it holds up very, very well. The comedy hits hard. Love this movie. How do you feel about Dick Tracy?
I love the production design, the style, the costumes. Like, it kind of explodes off the screen. It's a really stunning film. That was the era when movie theaters would do things like I went to the special preview screening when it came out, and my ticket was an actual shirt. I had a special Dick Tracy, and it had a big ticket on the front and Dick Tracy and all this stuff. I loved that shirt. I had it for years. And the film, I think, largely works. I think that I don't know. There's a whole meta world of Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy that's arisen from this whole thing that I still can't wrap my head around. And I think that
I don't know if Warren does either, by the way.
I don't know. Yeah, who knows what if he's caught on to that? But I will say he embodied the character, and so it's clear that he had this real personal connection with it and everything. There are things that work better than others in it. I don't know. It's one of those movies that the thing that I always think about is there was a character, I think his name is Littleface, who my impression is, or my understanding is, that the team behind the effects were always disappointed with how they filmed him, because they filmed his close-ups like they would film other actors' close-ups, but you lose the effect of the entire point of the actual face, and it should be shot like giant head, little tiny face in the middle of it, but they shoot it so you're just seeing the actors' expressions. And so I don't know, that's one of those things that I always think about with that movie, is just a little gaffe. But otherwise, I think the character design, everything about it's really just super cool.
It's one of those movies that every single time another scene happened, I went, "Oh my God, they're in this!" And it's funny because I had not seen this movie in probably, 18 years, something like that. And watching it again after I've started to enjoy movies in general, oh man, if you want people from movies, this has everyone you can dream, and it's that blending of the old Hollywood era and the people that were still alive mixing with the giant actors of that day with some up and coming names that now is oh wow, how are they also in this movie? It's incredible. Absolutely amazing cast.
Yeah. I should check that one out. You've convinced me.
I wasn't doing that, but I'm
I know.
and then I guess neither one of us said the word. Madonna, also one of the main stars, which is wild to see.
That was the Madonna Warren Beatty era, which those of us who lived through it have a hard time forgetting. But
Madonna in 1990, that is a huge star at the time.
Oh yeah, and I mean I love Madonna. I think she's great, and I've listened to her soundtrack of that many times. But yeah, it's a fun film. Danny Elfman does the score. I mean,
yep.
it's a cool movie.
Before we get into announcements, I want to shout out that after tonight, after we go through all the announcements, we're going to be covering J-horror broadly, sort of in a CinemaScope style discussion. Not like 5 favorites, just shouting out 5 titles and discussing them. We are going to be going over a lot of announcements tonight, but before we go into that, any upcoming CinemaScope that you want to highlight or be able to tell us about before you get started?
Well, conveniently, I'm working on planning my J-horror episode right now.
I'm shocked.
I know, right? I've also been talking to somebody in India trying to work out a plan to do something with Indian cinema. I'm not exactly sure. I'm kind of pushing for kind of like the masala musical types of films, which I think would be a lot of fun. But so I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to land with that one. We're still sorting it out. I've also been chatting with someone for I think a year now, trying to coordinate a time to talk about heist films, which I think would be a really fun episode to discuss. So those are a few that are currently in the works.
I can't wait. For anybody that missed the beginning, please go subscribe to CinemaScope. Really incredible show, well researched. With nowadays, I mean, there's something about shows that actually put the work into discussing titles that mean so much more than like the Hangout podcast to me. And you could tell that they are important, well-read podcast compared to others that are like sit on the couch and discuss. And those have their place. Nothing against that. It's just right now very much into the let's deep dive and actually know what we're talking about type of podcast.
Well, thank you.
Means the world. Let's get into some announcements then. We're starting on sort of a weird note this week because the first thing is a replacement program. Radiance announced their first replacement program, and this one was odd because it seemed to only be affecting people that had Panasonic players. And people that did not have Panasonic players, it just played just fine. So you may not even need a replacement disc. But just so you know, Radiant sent out a message saying that they have discovered what happened finally. They wanted to announce this a couple weeks ago, but they couldn't even figure out what caused the error. So there was a formatting error when the disc was sent for replication, and it wasn't present in their files, and it somehow got corrupted on the way to the printer. So the replacement discs are now being manufactured, and they're going to be sent to those that bought it straight from Radiance. Anybody else, you can email info@radiancefilms.co.uk, show that you purchased the disc, and they will get you a disc sent to you. And they did say this is good for anywhere in the world. You don't have to worry if you bought this in Australia or something. They will still ship it to you. There are new discs still being made of this title, and it will have the replacement disc already with it. So you don't need to worry about that.
That's a lot of work, but kudos to them for figuring it out.
It's a ton of work. Mozart is saying, do they not test a disc at the plant? And yes, they do. We're going to talk about another label that had issues later. But yeah, there are lots of ways to test the discs, and most of the companies do in different ways. But when something is so specific like this, sometimes it just gets missed somehow. And it depends. Sometimes the error doesn't happen until 14 minutes into the feature or only on the special features. There's a lot of different ways that these can go wrong without being able to be caught, because they're not sitting there testing after they've done QC. Like some of these companies do QC more than 30 times on the whole disc. After they're pressed, they're not testing all of the disc yet again. They would be completely bogged down and just doing QC for the rest of their lives. So thanks, Radiance. This is the right way to handle it. Good job. Okay, so we talked about Severin a little bit ago. We also talked about their sale coming up next week. We're going to be talking about a handful of titles coming as part of their sale. This first one is Night of the Sharks from 1988. This is the first time it's been on disc anywhere in North America. Coming on Blu-ray, scanned from the only surviving 35mm print. It will have the bonus soundtrack CD with it. Love that Severin still does this. But this is one starring Treat freaking Williams. And cannot wait to get this. This is going to have a trailer on it. Not much for extras, but I have heard about this movie many, many times and have never had a chance to see it. Night of the Sharks. Are you a shark exploitation person? Because we're going to be talking about sharks a lot tonight.
Yeah, we are. I have never seen this. I hadn't heard of it, but I mean, Treat Williams and the fact that his character has a pet shark named Cyclops, like. Totally won me over as soon as I saw all that. I'm like, oh, I have to check this one
out. Great sounding cast in this. This looks like a hell of a lot of fun. Definitely on my radar for the sale.
I want to just call out with that one that I'm a big fan of film scores and soundtracks, and I love the bonus feature idea of actually throwing in the soundtrack. Like that is one of my favorite things, especially because Night of the Sharks is not the sort of soundtrack that's exactly like a common item to pick up anywhere. So like that's definitely for me, like something that I always look at as a big selling point when I'm looking at whether I decide to purchase something or not.
I love the comment we just got. Can you see a shark at night? I mean, yeah, if it's under a spotlight. Thanks, Ragnar. Let's see. Next up, Airplane 2, the sequel, coming to 4K from Kino Lorber on September 23rd. This is a brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master from a 4K scan of the OCN for Airplane 2. We got a new audio commentary on here by Mike White from the Projection Booth podcast. New audio commentary by Patrick Walsh as well. The Blu-ray that comes with this is not going to have as many bonus features as they normally throw in on the Blu-ray, but it's got both those commentaries still. You can get this on standalone Blu-ray as well. How do you feel about Airplane 2, the sequel?
I grew up, I mean, Airplane was a regular in my house. We watched that all the time. I have a good half of that movie easily memorized, just so many quotable lines. This is one that I had fun with. William Shatner's my favorite part in it. I never watched it as much as Airplane, but I still found it to be pretty fun.
I made this argument a couple weeks ago because Kino did the classic thing of we're going to announce the title and not tell you anything or the date or anything, and then 3 months later reveal it. So when I brought this up, I've said I'm not going to say that this is a better movie. However, Airplane 2 has like all of the great stuff from Airplane and more jokes. It's also really great.
Yeah.
Anyways, next up from Kino, a Blu-ray release of Radioland Murders coming on September 23rd. This is one with Mary Stuart Masterson, Brian Benben. I have never seen this one. We get a new audio commentary on here by Brian Reisman and Max Every. There's also a new interview with Brian Benben on here. Have you seen the Radioland Murders?
Yeah, and this was a movie that they when it came out, they were really plugging the fact that George Lucas was involved. Everyone was like, what is this guy doing now that Star Wars is over? This is like that period where nothing was happening in the Star Wars world. And so he was like, he wrote this, he's one of these people, he loves the 50s driving culture. And he also really loves the world of old radio. And so wrote the story for this and then was the EP on it. And it's a zany, fun movie. I mean, it's been quite a number of years since I watched it, but I remember having a lot of fun with it. And it's just, they throw in some like actual old people, like I think George Burns pops up as somebody who's doing some radio in it and everything. And I had a lot of fun. It's definitely one that I'm just seeing the fact that they're putting this out made me want to revisit it and see how it holds up.
Perfect time for that. Get a brand new 2K master coming on the disc. Speaking of brand new versions, September 2nd, there's going to be an Amazon exclusive of the 4K Superman Steelbook library set that they did way back in 2023 over the summer. They're doing that exact same set, but they're losing the fifth Steelbook that in the first one had comic books and a certificate of authenticity and like 6 other things. And all of that is great that they're putting this back out. Like, I'm not one of those people that if I had the first one, I'm not going to complain because the value might go down slightly. The big deal here, though, is that they are fixing a bunch of errors that were in there for the first time. So when they put this out in the very first set in 2023, the first movie had a 6-track audio set, and it did not have the 2.0 audio and lossless. They screwed up the audio track for some reason. That got fixed in this one. There was a Christopher Reeve credit glitch that happened in that first movie, which that's kind of a big deal to overlook, Christopher Reeve. That has been fixed. Superman 2 has an improved Dolby Atmos mix that corrects the various wows that were problems in the audio mix, and there were some pitch issues as well. Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut disc, has a video fix for the geometry of the iconic final shot of the movie, and a couple other random things that was squished horizontally. Superman 3, the disc was fine, so that one's identical. And then Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, includes an improved Atmos mix as well that had some various alternate and incorrect musical performances that were wrong on that first release. So the hard part here, if you have that first release, you have the fancy limited set with all of the broken discs. So what should you do? I'm not going to say that they will do this, but I will say Warner Brothers actually has a decent track record for this. If you had the original Rambo set of all the 4Ks, those were littered with errors as well. And people, when they re-released those and fixed them, people that bought the original set were able to email Warner Brothers and get fixed discs. So if you got this first set, I highly suggest emailing Warner Brothers. They might be able to help you out, because that's a lot to fix and feel slighted by if you got that first one.
Yeah, that is a tough one. I would hope that they will actually send replacements to people.
And yeah, I agree with Mozart. He says if you can provide proof of purchase, you should be able to get the fixed discs. Which there's the hard part too. Is this has been a set that has sold secondhand a lot in the last 2 years. So pull out those emails, see what you can do. But yeah, I'm glad they're fixing this. I'm glad they're re-releasing these. I didn't buy the first set, but with my kid loving Superman this last weekend, I almost feel kind of obligated to show them all of the original Supermans in 4K, and this is the way to do it. They also have a standard set that will have all the fixes eventually as well, so may need to check something out.
There you go.
September 9th, we are getting Dark Winds Season 3 from AMC. This is not a show I had ever heard of before I posted this announcement.
Oh.
Do you watch Dark Winds? It sounds like you do know it. I
don't, but I've definitely heard of it. It's one that George R.R. Martin has been behind, and so I love Zahn McClarnon, who is the lead in it. He was, one of my favorite characters in Doctor Sleep, and I just think he's just a fantastic actor. So it's one of these. I have so many movies that I'm trying to watch that TV is very limited because it takes up so much time. But this is one that I've had my eye on for quite some time, and so I might have to see about checking these out at some point.
Supposedly, it's an incredible movie or show, really high quality. Everybody that was commenting on this seemed to love it, so yeah, I will consider it eventually. It's based on some series of books, says Colton. Nice.
Yeah, it's the Leap Horn and Chi series.
And Ronnie, who does watch a lot of TV, says it's been on the to watch list for a while. So I get it. Moving right along. Here is a fun one. Coming soon. So we don't have a date yet, but we are getting a 4K of Remo Williams from Kino Lorber. They have released this on Blu-ray already. You can pretty much guarantee all the extras that were on that will be on this. They might even do a new commentary when this gets a date and all that and stuff. How do you feel about Remo Williams? I feel like this is one that you had to have seen.
Oh, I watched this all the time when I was a kid. So much fun. I actually revisited it when Fred Ward passed away a few years ago, just to kind of like check it out, because like when I think of Fred Ward, that's where I go. It's either that or Tremors.
Tremors for me. Yeah.
Yeah, or Henry and June, which is a little bit different. Probably not the one that I'm jumping to put on, but
That's a spectrum. Tremors, Remo Williams, and Henry and June.
I know. But I loved Remo Williams so much as a kid. I revisited it, and it was it's still a lot of fun. But Joel Grey's character was a little difficult to watch these days, but I still had fun with the movie. And I love Joel Grey, so it's one of those what you just kind of look past.
Yeah. Oh, Miami Blues. That's a good one, Adam. Love that movie.
There you go.
Miami Blues is one of those weird ones that was kind of hard to see on disc for a while, and then it got like 3 releases in the span of 18 months. It's like, oh, now everybody has seen it. This is nice.
Everybody's putting out suddenly, right?
Yeah. Next, again, not a dated release, but Kino Lorber are putting out a 4K of Runaway Train from 1985. How do you feel about Runaway Train?
It's a great movie, and I think the thing to know about it is it doesn't end up being the movie that you think it's going to be when it starts. It's like Runaway Train. You're watching escape convicts escaping on a train, and it becomes a runaway train. And then it becomes this like internal like character piece as they're trying to figure themselves out and stuff. And great movie. Akira Kurosawa wrote the screenplay, or they adapted a version of the screenplay that he had written for this. And it's definitely worth checking out. I recommend it quite a bit.
It's a good movie. I certainly like Tony Scott's take on it. I'll keep going. Filmmasters putting out on August 26th a Blu-ray of Invasion USA, but not the one that you probably think of immediately when you hear Invasion USA. This is the 1952 double feature of the Cold War era. We're getting 2 films. Bonus film on this one, Rocket Attack USA. Filmmasters, these are always pressed discs. I got that question a lot this week when I posted these announcements. Just a heads up. Yeah, these are pressed disc. It'll be a great release, promise. This one, brand new 4K restoration of Invasion USA from Archival Elements. New 4K restoration also of Rocket Attack USA from the original 16mm Archival Elements. Crazy. And then new audio commentary by Jason A. Nye for Invasion USA. New essay by Toby Rohn on Invasion USA. New audio commentary by C. Courtney Joyner and Mark Jordan Legan for Rocket Attack USA. New essay by Don Stradley for Rocket Attack USA. And then Ballyhoo Motion Pictures did Better Dead Than Red, Hollywood versus Communism in the 50s, a little documentary for this. And then a new featurette with Anthony Moore, son of the star Gerald Moore, the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode with Rocket Attack USA, recut trailers of both. Like, there is a ton of stuff on this disc. This is region free, so you can get this anywhere in the world. You'll be able to watch it. This is a crazy looking release. I've not seen either of these films. Is this something that you're into or have seen?
I haven't either, but just interesting fact, Dan O'Herlihy shows up in Invasion USA. So you've got the Last Starfighter RoboCop Halloween 3 connection to it. So there you go.
Sin Syndicate, the podcast, says Rocket Attack USA from Nudie Cutie master Barry Mahone. Always happy to see Mahone get the HD treatment. And to get a brand new 4K scan of archival elements for something like Invasion USA, nobody else is really doing that besides Filmmasters for a title like this. This is a really cool thing. I will be supporting this one. This is one that I want to see more stuff like this for sure.
I love that they're actually releasing it as a double feature. I think that's such a great idea.
Most of their like mainline, they call them special edition releases. Most of them are double features. And what I appreciate is for both of the features, they get supplemental features to put some sort of context on it, whether it be about the director or the genre or anything like that. They do really great work. Really great work.
That's awesome. I wonder if they do or they should do a reversible cover where you flip it over and it's like Rocket Attack USA with a bonus. So yeah, that'd be cool to see them.
I don't have one within reach. I forgot I just moved it, and I was about to check to see if they do that, and I forgot. Yeah. Oh God, this is such a terrible cover. I forgot this was.
I hate this type of these covers. Ugh.
So MGM themselves, aka Amazon, putting out on July 15th, which you'll notice is in the past. They literally announced this like 2 days before it released, and I believe this is going to be a BDR, but don't quote me on that. I think it is. July 15th, they got a Blu-ray of Town Without Pity from 1961, and all they do is Photoshop a couple scenes from the film together into the most awkward-looking cover art. Obviously, Kirk Douglas movie. This is one that probably should have been treated fairly well, and this is what we got. Have you seen 10 Without Pity?
No, but I know this is one of those where he had worked quite a bit with Dalton Trumbo when he was blacklisted, and this is one that he had Trumbo come in and I don't know how much of the screenplay he worked on, but I know that this is one that he had touched the screenplay a bit, and of course didn't get credit. So.
Right. Adam says even AI would be embarrassed.
Right? It's an awful cover.
Yeah, this is truly bad. Next, from Severin, as part of their sale, is Fearless Dragons from 1980. This will go on sale as part of the summer sale next Thursday night, going into Friday. This is the first time on Blu-ray in North America at all. And this says, from iconic 70s Hong Kong studio Gold Egg Films Limited, The Dragon Lives Again and Duel of the Seven Tigers came from that same studio. Comes one of the favorite action comedies in the history of the genre, when two wily conmen, martial arts movie legends, Philip Coe and Brian Lung, they are framed for hijacking a trunk full of charity funds. They'll join forces to find the real bandits in a wild series of adventures that lead to an utterly fantastic final battle, ranked among the most exciting 2-on-1 fight scenes ever.
Wow.
Which, with that sentence, sold.
Right.
Special features on this. First off, scanned in 4K from the OCN. Incredible job with that, Severin. That's amazing. Audio commentary with Frank Jang and Michael Wirth, who are great at all of these commentaries that they do. There's an interview with the director, Lee Chu. There is actor Philip Coe remembers Fearless Dragons, and a trailer. And again, region free. Anywhere you live, you can get this and watch it on Blu-ray player. That is fantastic.
I would just pick it up for purely the positions that each of the people jumping are in, right in the middle of it, especially the guy on the left and the right. Like, that alone sells me on this.
Yeah, Shapes films are really fun. This is going to be great. And this is not a Bruceploitation film. I had a couple people ask if this was going to be in their next Bruceploitation box set, because Severin has announced a second one on the way. No date or anything yet. But no, this will not be in that box because it's not Bruceploitation.
Interesting.
This was a fun thing this week. Dark Force Entertainment, who I don't talk about a lot, but this is an important movie. They are putting out the movie Mama's Dirty Girls from 1974. This is coming as part of their Drive-In Collector series. This is going to be a double feature as well. So you've got this one, Mama's Dirty Girls. This is directed by John Hayes, who also did Grave of the Vampire and Garden of the Dead. The original uncut 35mm negative was found, and they were able to scan this one. That is really damn cool. But then the second hit is the extremely rare 1970 German erotica film, How to Make Love to a Virgin. Which that's pretty damn cool that they're putting this in here. The only special feature on these drive-in specials from Dark Force, they have their drive-in mode, which means they will show both films back to back with a little intermission in between the two movies, which I think is a really incredible sort of gimmick to put on these. I just wish we had some sort of contextual extra, because these movies deserve somebody to talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, well, Gloria Graham of all people shows up in the film, and I mean, she's like been in so many amazing films. And then I'd love some context of like her career leading to this. You know, that'd be a really interesting special feature that I'd love to check out.
Gary's pointing out she has huge hands. Yeah, the perspective here is not great at all. Craig wants to know, can they pipe in mosquitoes into your living room? Thankfully, that technology does not exist yet.
That'd be the worst.
that and like crying babies from 3 cars over. Next, this is an odd one, so I'm not going to mention this for too long because it actually did not last. But for a long, about 8-minute period, Lionsgate Limited had restocked The Man Who Fell to Earth 4K Steelbook that has been going for decent money secondhand. And so it looked like there was going to be another chance to pick this up, but it has disappeared from their website pretty much immediately after I posted this, and then everybody started crying because they couldn't go buy it. I'm sorry. What I'm getting from this is this will likely get restocked. They just probably were not able to have it available yet. So if that does happen, I will try to update. This is one of those times where if you're a member of the Patreon, of a part of the Discord, you'll get updated much quicker that way, most likely. So please come hang out if you want to. This is the kind of thing that doesn't always deserve another post, but if it does, we will absolutely be talking about it in the Discord. Great movie, incredible looking steelbook on this. I don't always love steelbooks, but the way they designed the Bowie steelbook is kind of perfect here. It's worth a watch. It's worth an own. Absolutely something to look forward to if you're after it.
I'd love to pick that up if if it pops up at the right moment when I'm looking at their site.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Hopefully it's back for good soon.
Yeah.
Man, this surprised me this week. September 9th, Universal releasing a 4K of Sissy Spacek. Man, my tongue twisters tonight are bad. Coal Miner's Daughter from 1980 getting a 4K release. How do you feel about this one, Andy?
I mean, it's a great musical biopic. Like, if you like those films, I mean, they do a great job with this one. Yep. I believe it's Tommy Lee Jones who plays her husband, right?
Yep.
And Sissy Spacek just nails the role and does it so well. I would be curious to actually revisit this one and see how it played for me after all this time. But I don't know. I'm a little tuckered out on music biopics at the moment, so it's not urgent. But this is one that I would be more inclined to watch.
I watched this a lot as a child. My grandmother and that whole side of the family was very conservative minded, at least when it came to movies. So I grew up watching like Fried Green Tomatoes was a movie that I saw probably once a week. And this is one of those that was just in that rotation. So I've seen this countless times, but because I saw it so much, I don't think I've seen this movie in like 28 years.
Yeah, right.
I've had no desire to watch it again. That being said, I remember really enjoying it, and to own it on 4K and be able to watch it again in 2025 that way is kind of incredible.
No kidding.
And yeah, Sibner's saying, got to give Universal credit. It's definitely been longer than 6 months since they put out the Blu-ray. Yeah, Universal's doing really well at the moment, actually. But yeah, the biopic thing is tough. It's kind of hard to watch any music biopic, especially after Dewey Cox. That ruined them for me because it's amazing.
Yeah. Just put that and Weird back to back, and that pretty much covers the whole gamut of expectations.
Weird. Did you like Weird?
I didn't actually watch it. It's one that I'm very curious to, but every time I go to put it on, it's like there's always something else to do. But I mean to.
It's all right. I feel, again, I hate to say it because it was another parody, but like Dewey Cox even like took the wind out of the sails of Weird. If that happened earlier, it would have been like, oh, this is a masterpiece. And then Dewey Cox could have one-upped it. But no, Dewey Cox has just kind of ruined the entire genre.
Yeah. That's really funny.
Next, we got some details on the How to Train Your Dragon release from this year. This is the live action remake. I'm sure most of us sort of agree about the live action remake thing. Are you somebody that's watched those or a fan of them, or are you blatantly against them like most of us?
There was a period. I mean, we started with things like 101 Dalmatians, and Glenn Close was amazing, and there were reasons where they could do something and it could play okay.
Yeah,
and then it just hit like shot for shot sorts of remakes, and I'm like, if you're going to go live action, do like a Maleficent, or honestly my favorite of all of them is probably Pete's Dragon, which takes that, I mean, I loved it as a kid, but it's not actually that great if you revisit it, but they made an amazing movie out of it. Like, that's how you do a live action remake of something, and it's just like these are all just rehashes. And I would love to actually just to test and see if audiences are buying into it in reverse. Like, take something that's a live action movie, like, I don't know, let's
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean, and do a shot for shot animated version of that. And are they going to make money? Sadly, probably.
With pirates, they would.
Yeah, with that one, yeah, for sure. So, but it's just one of these things. Like, we just don't need them, and so this is not one that I'm interested in because I love the original trilogy so much.
I do too. I've got all three of the original trilogy 4K steelbooks right over here. They're gorgeous. Love those. I went and saw this, took my kids, Amazingly, it was great. Not really anything to complain about. The funny part is just the exact same movie. Like I have I had no reason to go see this. It was just there. I mean, there were scenes in this where I think I made this joke a couple of weeks ago, but when I came home, I was thinking like, did they even make the guy's hair move the exact same way as it was in the animated version? Because it looked that identical. Again, this will look beautiful. It's crazy. But then there's stuff like the quote live action Lion King that was literally just animated too. Like, what are we doing?
I know. It's bizarre. The whole thing is just a strange way to make more money.
It's weird. So this is all coming on August 12th. There's going to be a 4K Steelbook, a standard 4K, a Blu-ray, and a DVD that you can get of How to Train Your Dragon from Universal. HDR, Dolby Atmos on the 4K release. There's going to be a director's commentary on the whole film, which is kind of interesting. I kind of want to hear this, even though I do not want to purchase this disc. I want to hear what the same director is going to say about making this film live action after he did everything else. You got deleted scenes, you've got making of, you've got walking onto the set, a whole bunch of featurettes. They're kind of doing this right, at least for the physical release. But I don't know. Again, not necessary at all.
Yeah.
Love this question. Where's the live action remake of Belladonna of Sadness? That is a great question.
Yeah, I saw somebody else throw in Sophie's Choice. I'm like, yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah, that one could do well. Simba says, what's my shelving order? I have Mary Poppins shelves. It's not that they're everywhere. It's that I don't know how good this will show up. I have little acrylic display shelves for steelbooks. So I've got just 9 of them set up right there. But it's a trilogy, and these 3 are perfect for it. So, yeah, they're right there. I'm sorry. Let's go to our next one. Speaking of animation, Kung Fu Panda 2, which is probably the best one in that series, is getting a 4K release from Universal on September 9th. No new extras on this, but I actually really liked this entry into the franchise, so I might pick this one up. I don't have Shrek yet either, which I also loved, but are you into any of these animation ones?
I love them, the Kung Fu Panda ones. It's funny. It's the first trilogy or first series of films where like I took my kids to it, and then the 4th one came out, and my son's like, "Oh, my friends and I are going to see it." I'm like, "Oh, I want to take it." No, we want to go together. I'm like, "Oh." I realized I lost my buddy to go see some of these with in the theater. So I'm like, "All right, have fun."
Yeah.
But they're great movies. I do enjoy them quite a bit.
They're surprisingly good, and the casting is great. Like the fact that we have Jack Black and Jackie Chan as 2 of the main characters in these is incredible.
Oh, I know. It's a fantastic group of people that they have.
Going to the next one, another really awfully photoshopped cover. Universal releasing My Dead Friend Zoe from this year on Blu-ray on September 16th. No extras on this. But the big thing that you can get is, I think that's supposed to be Morgan Freeman. And this is supposed to be Ed Harris. What is happening?
Just the worst. This is so bad. Like, were they not able to access the movie poster to
the film itself, right?
Yeah, I mean, geez. It's a terrible poster. I've heard nothing but good things about the film. Really want to check it out. But yeah, this poster is atrocious.
Atrocious is almost even being too kind, which is hilarious. Yeah, Morgan Freeman, Ed Harris, and Natalie Morales, who secretly is kind of always incredible. Yeah, I definitely want to see this one. I've heard it's good.
I'm actually looking at that. That is the same as the theatrical release poster. It just looks like they even extra photoshopped it, like put extra shading on people's faces. Yeah.
Yikes. Dell says that cover looks like AI gone rogue. Oh man. Yeah, this poster is bad.
Yeah.
Megan 2.0. Did you see this one?
No. I enjoyed the first movie. It was fun. It wasn't one that I wanted to return to, but I thought they made a really fun film with it. And then I saw the trailer for the second one. I'm like, wow, they took that in a direction I wasn't expecting at all. And then I just didn't hear anything good. So I didn't bother.
Yeah, saw the first one. I thought it was fine. I didn't love the first one like everybody else, but I thought it was fine. This one I hated. This was real bad. Not great. But we got some details. September 23rd, 4K Steelbook and a standard 4K Blu-ray. Plus, they're doing a DVD release and a Blu-ray and all that. But also, they're doing a double feature 4K release and a Blu-ray release if you want both movies at once. But the big thing is, when I saw the first movie, it was not in theaters. I watched it at home, and I watched the unrated version, which I then saw the theatrical, and I found I loved the unrated version way more than the theatrical. I didn't love either one, but the unrated definitely made it better. And of course, they're going all in on that as well. So the second one has an unrated version. It says upgraded with enhanced kills, deleted scenes, and more blood and carnage. You probably should have released that in theaters. It might have done better.
Yeah, geez.
This one has an HDR presentation for the movie. We've got Dolby Atmos and then some featurettes on here. There's a scene breakdown, stuff like that. Not too shabby on the features. This one is interesting. So I was on Reddit checking out some of the physical media subreddits that they have. And there's a user who is Tractorus12 who posted that he made a Blu-ray price tracker. You can find this at valueflick.com, except it's VALUflick.com. Now, I am not affiliated with the site or anything like that. I just found that I thought it would be useful, and so I wanted to share it with the world when I came across it. He says on the website, I built ValueFlick because my own steelbooks and limited run discs were piling up, and I had no clue what they were worth from 1 week to the next. Spreadsheets were a pain. Price threads were all over the place, so I wrote some code to pull in recent sales, graph the swings, and keep my shelf cataloged in one tidy spot. It's still just me tweaking the site between movie nights, but I've opened it up in case other collectors want the same quick reality check before buying, trading, or selling. If it saves you a little guesswork and maybe a few bucks, I'll call that a win. So I saw this and I immediately thought, well, if I want to buy something, that seems valuable to me because I don't want to overspend. So if I see something is trending on the lower side, I don't have to go, on like a Facebook group and say, hey, you're selling this for $90. I'll buy it for $90 if it's only selling for like $60. And I don't want to go through eBay and parse through all these. So this is pretty cool to me. What's interesting, though, is I posted this. And the guy who coded the site DM'd me about 4 hours later and said, hey, I posted this to Reddit. Not much happened, but then you posted this and the site crashed. Me posting this brought him a ton of traffic. And so he started asking what compelled me to even post about it and if I had any ideas that he could implement. And so we've been chatting every day since I posted this, and I've given him a bunch of stuff. He's got all kinds of things he's tweaking behind the scenes on this that actually are probably going to be super useful. Nice. So if everybody is keeping an eye on this, this will be changing pretty much daily. He is working on this kind of nonstop. Sibner says, do we have to enter each and every title in there? If you mean like to search for it at the moment, yes. But you can make a collection. So if you've got all kinds of stuff, you can scan and log in and make an account and make a collection on there. And that way you can track your stuff all in one place. We got a question that says, I wonder how accurate the tracker is. Del, it's scraping straight from eBay sold prices. So there's not even a question on if it's accurate. These are actually what they're selling for. The hard part is there's all kinds of older or more obscure or rare titles that there's nothing in there because there's no sales. So that part isn't entirely useful yet. However, he's got some ideas, and I gave him some ideas that I think will make it much more useful. I agree, ZPAM. I think it would be useful if you could import from other apps, because right now I'm not scanning 11,000 releases to put it in there. But also, for me, I don't need to know what my collection's worth. That's not why I would use it. I guess if I was trying to sell something, I might use it as a gauge rather than searching on eBay. And yes, I believe you can search by ISBN, Corinne. I'm not entirely sure by that. I think you can, though. I know that since I did this, he already implemented a new feature that's not in the screenshot where you can enter in titles yourself so that he can add those to the database. So you can go check that feature out. But yeah, to me at least, I think this seems like something that could be useful, especially if he does implement some of the things we've talked about. So keep an eye on it.
I love the idea. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and again, not to sell things. I had a lot of people say you shouldn't be, taking your collection, and speculating, and only holding things because they're worth something. I agree. That's not why I want it. I want it because if I want a title, like I just traded for this Jackie Chan thing, to find out if I should trade for it or go buy it, I had to go scour a bunch of sites and find out that none of them had it listed, find out what it had sold for, see about what it's worth, and if I could just do that in one place, that's perfect.
Yeah. Awesome.
Next up, Lionsgate Limited again. We were talking about them a moment ago. They announced a 4K release of High Tension, the 2003 new French Extremity release from Alexandre Aja. This has all kinds of what they're calling Lionsgate Limited extras, which are, I believe, are all the same that were on the second site release of this when it got released. But this is a 4K steelbook. You can get this, and it will be shipping on August 12th. That is the release date. And the other things is this has legacy bonus features on here. It's got the audio commentary with Aja and the writer from years ago, another scene-specific audio commentary. It's got some other featurettes that I don't believe these were in the second site release. So, yeah, High Tension. Are you a new French Extremity fan?
It's fun film. I had a great time watching it until the twist, when I found myself struggling with it quite a bit. But largely, I think that Aja is did some great work with it, and you could see why Hollywood pulled him in to do some other things over here.
Yes. ZPAM says, unfortunately, the artwork is missing Morgan Freeman. Yeah, that's true. The big thing here, a lot of people not loving the artwork or absolutely loving the artwork. This is the same artist, Mexifunk, that does the steelbooks for Scream Factory lately that are just overall mostly bad, in my opinion. Sorry, Mexifunk. No shade meant to you, but just not my style. But yeah, it seems like they're clicking with some people. Not for me, though. The other steelbook, I guess we'll get to that one in just a minute, because Criterion was announcing, and they completely interrupted my Lionsgate stuff. Let's get into Criterion. First, Firewalk with Me got a 4K steelbook, not steelbook, that'd be weird, from Criterion. 4K release coming on October 7th. Tell us about your love of Twin Peaks and David Lynch, sir.
I love David Lynch. What's funny is that I only just, in the last year, finally decided I needed to do Twin Peaks. That was my big gaping hole in my Lynch filmography. So I actually plowed through the entire 90s show, watched this movie, watched the new show, and I loved it all. This movie worked. I mean, it worked so well for me. The way that it really gave us the story of Laura Palmer that we really weren't getting otherwise. And so I found it to be probably the most powerful of the entire run for me. It was surprisingly, I just wasn't expecting it to hit as emotionally as it did.
Yeah. Especially when absorbing Twin Peaks as a whole, this movie hits really hard. I don't know. It's Lynch, so obviously there's already something special there, but this movie is sort of, I don't know, a weird anomaly, and how personal it feels because of how lived in some of the characters are, at least for me.
Yeah, truly.
Again, it's Criterion, so no new extras or anything like that, but October 7th, this will look beautiful in 4K, I'm sure. Then, another one that is bound to look beautiful, Eyes Without a Face from 1960, getting a 4K release from Criterion on October 14th. No new extras, but you've got the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc, Eyes Without a Face. Tell me about it, Andy.
This is one that I have yet to see, and I even had a friend send it to me, so I have the disc sitting right back here, and I keep forgetting that I have it sitting there. I absolutely need to just pull it out and check it out. So, in fact, I will. As soon as I'm done here, that I'm going to write a note. That's what I'm going to finally watch.
It's a great movie. Everybody should check this out. It is fantastic. October 21st, they are releasing a Blu-ray of David Cronenberg's The Shrouds. Now, what's odd here is this is coming as part of their Criterion Premieres line. So this used to be the Janus Contemporaries line that they had done, and then a couple weeks ago they announced their first Janus premiere, or Criterion Premieres, and this is now the second. So this will be the exact same thing, $30 MSRP, But what gets to a lot of people is this is Cronenberg. This isn't like some nobody that is an indie director doing this as their first time. This is going to have a Meet the Filmmakers featurette on here, which we get on all of the Janus contemporaries and now Criterion premieres. But it's Cronenberg. Most of us have heard of him before, and I'm sure that this will be the first movie for some. But it is sort of odd to give this a release like this and not a mainline release when it's Cronenberg. I've said that a lot now. The other big complaint, I've had a lot of people ask about a 4K release. I don't think they're going to choose to do 4K for this line because they want to keep that MSRP at $30. And when it goes on sale for $15, there's no way they're selling a 4K disc for $15. They will lose money, literally.
My hunch with this is I'm trying to figure out like what their motivation is, and I'm wondering if they're just testing this one out, because I mean the theatrical play of this was very short, and I'm wondering if they're just doing kind of a test run to see if there's a big crowd for this one, and if so, they might pull it into Criterion as a 4K down the road, you know.
Would be an interesting choice, especially if they filled it with extras. I've still not seen the Shrouds. I was supposed to see it at the film festival here in Kansas City called Panic Fest, and ended up not being able to drive up that night. But I am worried I'm going to hate this, but I'm very curious to check it out.
Yeah.
I did not like the most recent one before this, so we shall see.
Interesting.
Speaking of Cronenberg, History of Violence coming on 4K and Blu-ray from Criterion on October 21st. Now, we've talked about some art tonight that a lot of people have liked and disliked. This, by far, has been the most divisive art of the week. I have never seen so many hateful comments about a piece of art. How do you feel about this?
I would say it's definitely art. It's not just like a photo from the film. Like they're doing something really interesting and creative with it. And to that end, knowing the film, I actually think that there's something interesting that they have going on with it. I wouldn't say I hate it. I wouldn't say it's my favorite piece of art, like cover design that they've come up with. But I do think that for a Cronenberg film, it's kind of interesting.
I'm going to say almost the exact same thing that Mozart is saying here. I don't know why I like this, but I think this is great. To me, I mean, this person enshrouded with this red, very different, like very evocative color up against this very idyllic background is the movie. That is History of Violence. Exactly, like I feel it fits perfectly. I don't hate anything about this. I mean, the clouds are almost Simpsons-like. Like there's almost this borderline like Norman Rockwell type of feeling, like to the overall Americana of it all. I kind of really like this.
Yeah.
New 4K digital restoration supervised by the DP and approved by Cronenberg. You get a 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. You do have Dolby Vision HDR, so this is going to look pretty damn good. We got an audio commentary with Cronenberg on this. New interview with the screenwriter Josh Olson, conducted by Tom Bernardo. Excerpts from Cronenberg and Viggo Mortensen in conversation at the 2014 TIFF Festival. A documentary on the making of the movie. A bunch of older archival featurettes, and then an essay by Nathan Lee. Excited to pick this one up. This is definitely going to be in October, or depending on the flash sale for the site, either October or Barnes & Noble pickup in November for sure.
Yeah.
Lots of comments on the art. Let's let those lie. Next, the most exciting thing from Criterion for me this month, October 21st, a 4K and Blu-ray release of Ken Russell's Altered States. Have you seen Altered States, sir?
Oh, yes. In the theater, too, on 35 back in the day. Not on its initial release, but it came through campus and when I was in college. And it is just a wackadoo trip of a film. But, I mean, Patty Chayefsky is such a fantastic screenwriter, and just the Ken Russell craziness of it all that we have going on here. It is a really crazy, trippy film. Absolutely worth checking out. And if you can see this one in a theater, I mean, it really plays well on the big screen.
I've never seen this in a theater, and I'm so jealous right now. I adore this movie. I've seen this movie probably at least 5 or 8 times. Fairly recently watched it again to talk about it on another show. And man, this movie still hits hard. There's a lot of really relevant discussion in it. I really appreciate the way that Russell does the tightrope balancing act of making a very smart movie without condescending to the audience like we get in a lot of modern filmmaking. He just sort of assumes that you're going to meet him halfway. And what's great is that's sort of relevant to the storyline as well. Like William Hurt absolutely does that to every single person, sometimes to his detriment. But it's a beautifully made movie. I'm certainly, the final couple climactic moments have never looked great. I'm sort of worried how that's going to look in 4K, but this movie will absolutely shine in every way. I mean, there are scenes in this that are extra dark that will look beautiful in 4K. Just very, very excited about this. I will say, I don't see anything on this that tells me that there's a hint here, but this being a Warner movie directed by Ken Russell, I can't help but feel like we're getting actually closer to a release of The Devils. I'm not going to conjure that necessarily, but I feel like that might actually be a realistic possibility soon. Who knows?
This is their second Ken Russell film that they've put out?
At least,
I'd have to go check. Yeah, I can't remember if there's more, but yeah. And I will just say this one, the cover art is spectacular.
Yeah, by far the best of the week. Like, this is absolutely astonishing cover art. And even compared to the one that I like that we just talked about, this is mind-blowing. I really hope that this artist, who is, I will shout him out, Richie Beckett, gets a lot more work because it is beautiful. Yeah. I love the DM I just got from Craig about the art specifically.
It is Criterion's second is Women in Love, and then this.
I was loading that in another tab, so thank you. We got Dolby Vision on this, so yeah, it'll look great. New audio commentary with the one and only Sam Deegan, which is incredible. I'm so stoked that she was able to speak on this one. That's going to be amazing. Archival interviews with Ken Russell and William Hurt. New interview with the special effects designer, Bran Farron, and then an essay by Jessica King. Yeah, this is a must for me. I may even pre-order this one to watch it literally just as soon as possible. I think this is a masterpiece. This is an odd one now. So October 28th, we're getting a 4K Blu-ray dual format release of Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley. However, it is quite different because this is the black and white version of the film. So this is Nightmare Alley Vision in Darkness and Light, a new black and white extended director's cut, supervised by del Toro. Of course, this one is going to have a 4K digital master of the theatrical version of the film with it, with Dolby Atmos, 2 4K discs, so you got Dolby Vision on both, 2 Blu-rays with the films and special features, new audio commentary by del Toro on the extended director's cut, new documentary on the film's performances, visual language, costume and production design, and score, new conversation between del Toro and the producer Bradley Cooper, new conversation between del Toro and the co-screenwriter Kim Morgan, and then an essay by crime fiction and true crime expert Sarah Weinman. This is a really cool release. I also really enjoy the cover art on this one. I sadly have still not seen del Toro's Nightmare Alley at all. How do you feel about this release, sir?
I am very excited. They released it wasn't the extended cut of it, but they released the black and white version of it theatrically around the time that the film came out. And I went and saw that in the theater, and I loved it. It just was... it worked. It played so well in black and white for this story. So I'm very excited for what they're doing here. I'm curious because it's got the theatrical cut, but does it say if it's color, or are they only releasing is this disc only black and white versions of it?
They don't really specify here. I'm not entirely sure. I know that they've got the theatrical version, but that could also just be black and white too. I'm not sure.
Interesting. Huh. Well, it's a great one. I'm always fascinated when filmmakers take their film and whether they intentionally wanted to or not, like release it in black and white, and then they actually get the chance to actually do so. I'm always excited about about that. And so, because I think that it can play in such a different way. And this was a film that worked really well in both ways.
Ben is saying it will be color. That's what the theatrical cut was, guys. Well, I think that
theatrical cut was, it was released black and white as well
at the same time. So it could kind of go either way. And the hard part with this, I think this was Universal that he made this through, I think. Universal has a 4K out already of the original version. Whoever the studio was, I think it's Universal. It is possible that they theoretically could make a contract with Criterion that says you can't release it in color. I'm not saying that they did, but I'm not sure. Not sure.
Yeah, interesting.
It was played in black and white, literally at the same time when the original came out. Because if I remember right, he at least New York and L.A. he played the black and white version like for the Oscar stuff right when the original release was.
They were. I mean, it was maybe like it came out like a few weeks later or something. It was at a period where, people were not wanting to go back to the movie theaters. And so they were coming up with ways, what can we do? And this was something that they said, oh, now you can watch the black and white version. So
I wonder, which as I try to vamp here, how do you feel about Del Toro as a whole?
I love how incredibly creative he is and the worlds that he creates. I often find that I love his creativity more than his output is where I land with him. But Nightmare Alley, it actually may be my favorite film of his films.
Wow.
Which I don't know if that speaks to kind of like what I generally think of the other films. I think they're interesting. It's incredibly creative, but I've just never quite loved them,
Right. So on their website for this release, they have screenshots in color as well as black and white. So I have a feeling that it would be in color. That to me, it would be kind of weird false advertising if they included the color ones and did not have the color version on there.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Aaron just went and did the exact same thing. The Criterion website has color still, so I'm taking that as color in black and white. Oh, that was almost perfect. You had to have been typing that like as I started speaking. That was perfect. Del Toro as a whole. Did I say that?
Well, how do you think of Del Toro as a whole? Like,
I mean, look at the cover. Look at the cover.
Right.
That's the whole I'm talking about. Never mind. Okay, so like I said, we had a couple of these mixed up. Lionsgate Limited, the second steelbook that they announced coming out on August 12th is this is It Follows from 2014. This is a 10th anniversary 4K edition with Dolby Vision HDR, first time on 4K in the US. The big thing is this is the Second Sight 4K master. And all of the extras on here were on the Second Sight release, except for the legacy special features that they're including here were not able to be licensed to Second Sight. So there is stuff on this that is not on the Second Sight disc. And Second Sight, if you've got the limited edition, you've got the booklet, I guess. But literally, it's the exact same restoration. It's the exact same on-disc supplemental features and more. So this is a pretty compelling release if you are into steelbooks and you don't have that deluxe release. And it's, to me, like, this is a pretty steelbook. I like the cover. I like that the inside is kind of gruesome for this movie. Good movie. Have you seen It Follows?
I have. And actually, it fits well into like our upcoming J-horror conversation because it very much feels like something like with this never-ending curse that you just can't get rid of, right? And so it's a movie that plays, I think it plays really well. I'm close to compelled to pick this one up.
Nice. It's a beautiful movie. Very curious to see how this whole sequel thing comes out that they're working on right now. So we shall see. And then there was a Criterion title that I had posted all the announcements, and I guess I got there before Criterion had finished loading them all. So I didn't see this one at first, but then somebody said that they were intrigued by this one. I went, what is Deep Crimson? Criterion also releasing on October 28th a 4K of Deep Crimson. They're also releasing this on Blu-ray. This is from 1996, and it says, one of the peaks of subversive Mexican director Arturo Ripstein's cinema of outsiders. This deliriously perverse portrait of obsessive love dares audiences to see the humanity in the most sordid of anti-heroes. A lonely heart's advertisement advertisement leads lusty nurse Coral to Nicholas, a con man with whom she forges an increasingly intense, twisted bond as they crisscross 1940s Mexico, robbing and murdering the women he seduces. This sounds kind of incredible. I'm very curious to check this out. Love the color on this one. The cover art looks great. New 4K digital restoration of the director's cut, supervised and approved by the director. You get a 4K disc of the movie and a Blu-ray with the movie and special features. New interviews with the director and screenwriter. There's a panel discussion from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences featuring the director and a couple others, hosted by Christina Venegas. Essay by film scholar Hayden Guest. And Owen Smith kind of killed the cover art on this, I think. Deep Crimson. Have you seen or heard of this one?
I hadn't, but I mean, everything about it sounds so up my alley. It sounds like such a compelling, interesting, dark story, and so I haven't even heard of the director. So it's one of these that I feel like I just need to start with this director or start right here. Very curious.
Lots and lots of good comments. So I agree. This sounds incredible. I definitely need to check this one out.
The story sounds a little bit Honeymoon Killers-esque.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. God, I just talked about that one with someone else. And look, Corinne just commented on Oh, perfect timing. Okay, so Culture Shock Releasing, a company that we have not talked about very much over the last 2.5 years. They're still alive, and they just put out a re-release of the movie Thrust that they had released when they were a Vinegar Syndrome OCN partner label, except it's kind of a re-release and kind of not. This is Thrust, the punk cut. So this is a completely different cut of the movie. It's also got new bonus features, and essentially the director was not happy with the previous release and wanted to do a bunch of different stuff, and so here it is. Now it can still be in print. They've got this available. You can pre-order this from the TerraVision website or the Greyface website. Lots of good stuff attached to this one. I think that people are going to be happy if you liked the first release. This is not just a re-release of the exact same thing. I think that you're going to be stoked that you're getting something different. At least re-releases are not great usually, but considering the difference, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, sounds interesting. I've never heard of this one, but it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, that's probably true of a lot of Culture Shock titles, sadly. Going to our next one. This is so far one of the more enticing Severin titles for me. They are releasing on Blu-ray Ferret Vampire from 1982. And this is going to be a really nice looking side-loading release. You've got the booklet with this and everything. This is the first time on home video in America ever. This is from Josh Hers, the award-winning writer-director of Morgiana, The Ninth Heart, and The Cremator. Cremator is amazing, by the way. And subversive genius of the Czech New Wave comes the disturbing shocker driven by cultural provocation, political paranoia, and a supercharged take on the vampire mythos, now on disc for the first time ever in America. And it says, when Ferret Motors introduces a new high-performance sports car, a trauma doctor investigates a bizarre theory that the vehicle is a biological machine fueled by human blood. That just sounds incredible. This is going to have a commentary by Michael Brook, who does great on Czech films. There's an archival commentary with Lars Dreyer Winkelmann that was revised and re-recorded in English, actually.
Wow.
There is a person undergoing a strange sequence of events. Actress that is in this remembers the film. There's a piece with a screenwriter. Legend of the Blood Car visual essay by Stephen Broomer, who does a lot of experimental filmmaking under his label up in Canada. So that's cool to get him on here. Some archival interviews and a look at the prototype that was used for the ferret in this movie. There's also a 1992 Czech TV movie based on Vampire Limited author Josef Nizvaba's 1966 short story Morder. That's really damn cool. And then there's a booklet with the original short story that was in this, and then a new introduction by Czech science fiction historian Ivan Adamovich. Yeah, this to me seems like a must. This looks incredible.
It sounds, I've never heard of it, but it sounds just totally crazy and definitely something that I would love to pick up. So just a vampire car thing, like I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know, but it Like, you don't see that every day, right?
No, I mean, this sounds like Christine on steroids, I guess. This sounds incredible.
Yeah.
And the art looks very good. A lot of people commenting on the art. Yeah, the art for this looks very fun. All right. I guess we'll talk about this for just a second. Michael Madsen passed away recently, coming as a shock to everybody in the Discord that has made that into a running joke, which is hilarious, by the way. I got asked to contribute a small piece in memoriam to a Cinepunks write-up that we did. There's like 15 people that wrote on Michael Madsen, all covering different films. Very, very fun. Pieces to read through and just kind of revisit everything that Madsen has touched over the years. A lot of great names. Billy Ray Bruton is the one that kind of brought everybody together for this. You got Winter Mitchell, who is incredible. BJ Colangelo, who's amazing. Austin Proctor, all kinds of people. Jason Shahan, Jason Kleberg, Michael Vyers. Lots of great names. Go check out over on Cinepunks. It's a fun write-up.
What film were you talking about?
The one that I used the picture for, Sin City. When I first heard that he passed, like one of the scenes that I first thought of was that dock scene, and him and Willis going back and forth in front of the little girl in this movie is just, man, it's so rough to watch in that moment. I love this movie, and God, this movie's beautiful. Next up, the film that kind of frustrated some people this week. We are getting on September 23rd a Blu-ray release of The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas from 1982, starring, of course, Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. Frustrating because this already has a Blu-ray, but they were not able to get a OCN scan. I think the only thing that exists for this anymore is an interpositive. So this got a 2K scan of that 35 millimeter interpositive. That is a brand new master, so it will look better than the old Blu-ray, probably. There's also new audio commentary on this by Paul Anthony Nelson and Perry Cummings. Another new audio commentary by Brian Reisman and Max Every. And then some archival extras. But this is one that I would say, like, don't wait on a 4K because they're probably never going to get a 4K. At least not an actual 4K release on this one.
Yeah, it's a fun film for sure. I mean, we did a Colin Higgins series over on the next reel, looking at his sadly very short filmography, and it was a very lively, fun film to end on. And as much fun as Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton are in the film, is Charles Durning, who totally stole the show for me. It's very, very funny. So if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, this movie's a blast. There is I guess, spoiler, but there's a piece being written for issue of the magazine coming up on Burt Reynolds, and I've been wanting to watch like 10 of his movies back to back. So this might be a good time to get started.
There you go.
Imprint. Oh my gosh. So Imprint had all kinds of stuff that we get to talk about. We've got Tales of Adventure just pouring out of every pore, it seems like. Okay. These are all coming out on Blu-ray on September 24th, and we're getting 3 different Tales of Adventure box sets. This first one, collection number 7 already. Number 7. This has The Thief of Baghdad from 1924. And if that wasn't enough, you get The Thief of Baghdad from 1940. Still not had your full? The Thief of Baghdad from 1961. So all of these are takes on the 1001 Nights story, of course. You get a bunch of extras on this. You got new visual essays by Martin Caterio, some commentaries. All of them have extras on here, including, let's see, the 1940 version is a new commentary by Josh Nelson. This says new visual essay by David Huckvale. This is a lie. Huckvale didn't do anything for this release. That's actually Philip Jeffries, who did a piece on this one, and it's supposed to be great. So I'm excited to see that one. And then the newest film from 1961 is new commentary by Adrian Smith, new visual essay by Philippa Berry. Are you into the adventure style films that Imprint has done?
You know, I'm always checking them out when they release them. I haven't picked any of them up yet. It's one of those things that they're intriguing to me, but I haven't quite wanted to like push the button just yet. But every one of them I found intriguing, and I'd probably be happy with any of them.
Yeah, the hard part is they are quite expensive. So as Chris says over on Facebook, if you want to own all of these, it's only about $2,000.
Right.
Yeah, and a couple of them, I think, like the first 4 maybe are out of print already and go for some change. So Good luck with that. The next one is much larger than the one we just talked about. Tales of Adventure Collection 8 just spans from 1916 to 1971. This has so much in it. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea from 1916, Master of the World from 1961, Valley of the Dragons from 1961. That's the first time ever on Blu-ray in the world. War Gods of the Deep from 1965, Rocket to the Moon from 1967, and then The Light at the Edge of the World from 71. Just like the last one, limited to only 1,500 copies for the hard box. They'll likely do a standard release when this sells out. I think they have for the other ones that have sold out. But if you want, like, if these are your jam and you absolutely want them, you may want to take a look at these sooner than later, because some people really like these movies, and this one's got a film that people have wanted for quite some time. We've got new extras on a bunch of these. Another new Philip Jeffries visual essay on Master of the World. New visual essay by Andy Marshall Roberts on Vincent Price on that disc as well. War Gods of the Deep gets a new commentary by Jonathan Rigby and Kevin Lyons. There's some archival extras, more new commentaries, including one with Kim Newman and Stephen Jones. And then they ported over The Light at the Edge of the World extras that were on the previous release of this. Supplemental features, Andy. What type of features do you prefer?
You know, I love commentary. That's usually kind of the first one that I look at. I already talked about my love of soundtracks when they include those. But I really enjoy strong visual essays, or like just interesting visual essays. You know, I think they're great. And I mean, any just like critical thought that goes along with it, like a lot of them have some fantastic write-ups that come with discs. You know, I'm a big fan of any of that sort of stuff. There was a day where I would like watch all of the trailers when they would include trailers, or flip through all the different posters, and you know, sometimes I'll still take a glance at some of that, but I don't know, I feel like I hit my limit with those, and now I'm just looking for like the interesting conversations about things.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. Commentaries are difficult nowadays. I really just love a really well-researched visual essay, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of adventure, but that's still not enough. Yeah. We've got collection number 9 here, which I think is the one that most people are by far the most excited about. I have a feeling this one's going to sell pretty quickly for them. Once again, limited to only 1,500, so pay attention to that. This is covering from 1974 to 78, so nice tight time span here, but we get The Land That Time Forgot, At the Earth's Core, The People That Time Forgot, and then the big one for so many people, for the first time on Blu-ray anywhere in the world, Warlords of Atlantis from 1978. So I saw quite a few people saying they were going to buy this simply to get that last film on Blu-ray finally, which more power to you. That's some dedication. Again, lots of new extras. We got new commentary by Kim Newman and Stephen Jones, new interviews with the director, Kevin Connor, who directed this in 1974. That's pretty freaking special. More new commentaries and interviews. There's just a lot. Like, if this is your type of film, Imprint is giving you a lot of value with these movies for sure.
And The Land That Time Forgot is the only one of any of these 3 sets that I've actually seen, and it's it is a fun movie. It's kind of crazy, but it's definitely one that I would like. That is the one that would pique my curiosity to pick this set up.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about bad art earlier. I just want to shout out how great these old school poster art always were. Like, for some of these movies, the poster is the best part of the film. Sure,
even if half the stuff on the poster doesn't actually happen in the film.
Almost never. But I also love too that Imprint is kind of embracing that craziness on the actual box art too. These are great looking sets.
Yeah.
More Imprint. We've talked about this before. Bewitched, they're putting out 2 seasons at a time because they're really restoring these properly. They're going above and beyond to do it right. And so on September 24th, they're doing the 4th set of these. We got seasons 7 and 8, covers 1970 to 1972. This is an 8-disc set. You also have a 126-page hardcover book for all of you hardcore Bewitched fans, which there's still a lot of people. Yeah. This has some new extras on here. There is 54 different episodes, all restored by Sony, and they're going to look incredible. I mean, yeah, Imprint does really great with TV work. I'm just glad to see a boutique putting time and energy into TV, which does not happen all that often.
And Bewitched, I mean, it was a staple, growing up. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many episodes I've seen and didn't see from all the reruns that I watched as a kid. But I mean, I watched a lot of Bewitched.
Yeah, I feel like Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie and I Love Lucy and probably one other show were on every single day when I got home from school for, I don't know, 24 years straight, something like that.
Happy Days was in there.
Revival House says, hey, Ryan and Andy, follow you on Twitter. Just found you on YouTube. You guys are great.
Oh, look at that. Thanks.
A lot of pressure. Thanks,
I know. It's like, uh-oh.
We'll try to keep doing okay. Next from Imprint. Yes, we're still on Imprint. Space 1999, which they have done as the big box set release previously. This is now coming on September 24th for a Blu-ray of Super Space Theater from 1975 to 82. This is where they took some of the episodes and re-edited them into essentially TV films. And so we've got Destination Moonbase Alpha from 78, Alien Attack from 79, Journey Through the Black Sun from 82, Cosmic Princess from 82, and then Spazio 1999 from 1975. You get a 5-disc set, a 100-page hardcover book with the comprehensive guide to every movie, housed in a limited edition hardbox. If you love Space 1999, there's extras on these. They're going all out to make these incredible. I don't even know what to say. Like, there's just so much stuff.
That is incredible. Yeah, it's just truly mind-boggling the amount of work that they put into cranking these out.
Yeah, it's a lot. Craig is pointing out those Imprint Adventure collections aren't that pricey. $78 USD for 4 films seems pretty fair. That is for one of them. One of them is $58 because it's only 3 films, and then the one that's 6 films is $117. And honestly, I don't think any of them are crazy overpriced. The hard part is if you only want one, you got to pay for Australia to wherever you are shipping, which suddenly 78 is now 98, and that's where it starts to get a little crazy. However, if you're buying a whole bunch of stuff from Imprint and you're getting free shipping, it's worth it. Pile it on. Get like 5 or 6 releases, and suddenly you're getting an absolute steal because you're not paying for shipping, and it's going practically the entire world.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that's finally all of Imprint, and we go from that super niche action adventure stuff to Batman: The Dark Knight trilogy.
Nice.
So on this fall, we are getting a library steelbook re-release of the Dark Knight trilogy, which clearly everybody wants another release of these on 4K. These are all the exact same discs. There is nothing brand new in these. This is just if you are a Nolan superfan, Batman superfan, and you really want these bright white steelbooks for these very dark movies, this is the way to do it. The US release of this will be an Amazon exclusive. Over in the UK, this is available on Zavi, will be a few other places. No idea about Canadian release or anything like that, but this is going to be pretty widely available. If you really want this, you'll be able to get a copy, I promise.
Nice set.
Speaking of a nice set, this is one that I think many, many people are very excited about this week. August 5th, which keep in mind, that's only in like 3 weeks. This is very soon. We are getting a 4K steelbook of Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. This is a big deal because this is a Fox title, which has been locked away in the Disney Vault since they purchased them. And we are now getting a 4K UHD release of this movie. Unfortunately, the big story here is that it is not going to be including the wonderful DVD special features that we got on that big 2-disc release that a lot of collectors still have. Unfortunately, I do not have it anymore, and I need to get a secondhand copy. Because this is not going to include all those bonus features. Like, there's a documentary and everything. So this thing is coming. It's going to have a wonderful looking steelbook. I actually think this is a really classy release. The UK is getting this exact same steelbook and a standard 4K release. So if you don't want a steelbook, you're going to have to pick up the UK one. It is very much like Kingdom of Heaven for some reason. If you love this movie, this is going to look amazing. It's going to have Dolby Vision. It looks impressive. You've got immersive audio. Like, everything about this is going to be a stellar release, guaranteed.
Yeah, this is such an amazing film. I'm very excited about this one, and I do have that 2-disc box set that you were talking about. But nice. I'm still tempted to pick this one up just because it would be so beautiful. Such a great film.
ZPAM says that Dark Knight trilogy is on Amazon Canada. Nice. So Canada will get a release. Orbit is not taking pre-orders for Sony and Disney steelbooks. It's a bummer, but I get it. They want to make sure they can fulfill. And that's the hard part with these. I don't understand what's going on necessarily, but Mark has had trouble like taking pre-orders for titles and then simply not getting them in stock. And that causes giant problems on the back end. I mean, refunding people, you're paying credit card processing fees, and you can't charge that to the customer. There's a lot there. But this one, I gotta find a way to get a copy of. Absolutely. Okay, so we talked about another replacement program. Let's talk about the issues that have plagued TerraVision over the last couple weeks. So this is kind of crazy. One of their titles, the one that you can see on the screen right now, Suddenly in the Dark, this was announced in January, and this title has essentially been cursed for us. This has caused so many problems to just completely spiral. So let's go through it. The first thing, The Devil's Sword. This is a movie that I produced a bunch of the special features for. I've been excited to get this in hand for so long. And as it looks like, a bunch of the discs are not playing. Now, here's where it gets crazy, because we talked earlier about them checking the discs. What's hard is about 40% of these discs were working. When they got to the warehouse, TerraVision put in a few of them, and they worked just fine, so they started shipping them out. But then when people were getting them, a bunch of people were messaging and saying, hey, this disc is pointing out that it is not a completed disc. So something happened in the actual manufacturing process, because the files were exactly what they needed to be. And the replicator is definitely going to have to be the one to cover this, because they're the ones that screwed it up. So no need to email TerraVision. The only discs that went out were for people that had purchased directly. So you're just going to get a brand new disc, and you don't have to ask for it. So if your disc works, you get to give one to a friend, because you're going to have a second disc. Just give it away. It's a great movie. Then the second title, The Children of Violent Rome, another movie that I did some special features for. My friend Sam Cohen, who's in the Discord, got him to write a piece on this one. The disc is fine on this, but all of the slipcovers came in completely mangled. Not anything to do with TerraVision. The shipping partner, they all just came in completely thrashed. So these are getting reprinted, and as soon as they get there, they will be sent with a fresh batch to everybody. If you got one of like the very small number of titles that were in this that were not damaged. So congratulations. You're the exception, certainly not the rule. Now, the big one. Suddenly in the Dark has been just completely ruined time and time again. This was weird because in QC something got caught and we went to fix it, and then that fix screwed up the entire digital master for some reason, and so we had to go in and fix that again after that. And now the curse is coming because the disc is finally fixed, and the discs have arrived at the warehouse. But unfortunately, all of the packaging was shipped to Florida instead of Georgia, where they were supposed to be. So TerraVision had to go with a trailer, rent a truck and trailer, drive to Florida, and then package them themselves after they were sent to two different places. So this is going to be happening over the next few days. They plan to have all of these fixed and shipped out to people over the next week. You will finally be getting Suddenly in the Dark. I did a bunch of stuff for this disc, so I've been patiently waiting because this movie is gorgeous. Have you ever seen Suddenly in the Dark?
I haven't, but I've just was reading about it while you're talking, and it sounds like a crazy, crazy movie.
It is amazing. Like, this movie is sort of an underseen masterpiece. I really hope people check this out because it's incredible. But I'm just glad that it will finally be out there. The other big thing is we are waiting for updates on Arbor Day and Invader, and then hopefully nothing else happens to those. And then there's going to be some more updates on Sledgehammer and Gator Bait 1 and 2. And as soon as they know more, they will be announcing those, and I will do my best to cover them. All that to say, like, manufacturing so many titles is hard. It's very difficult to be patient sometimes, especially like Suddenly in the Dark has been plagued with issues for almost 6 months now. I get that that's a long time. Try to have some sympathy for people running these companies. They are working to make sure that it comes perfect. They don't want there to be errors. That costs them money too. I mean, they're losing, customers losing faith in them. They just want everybody to have the best experience. They love these movies too. So, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it really is an interesting element of the business that you don't think about, is like all the business behind just getting the movie to you.
Yeah.
Right. And how many countries that you're dealing with for all the different pieces to come together, especially these days with all the extra craziness happening.
Yeah. I mean, countries, companies, shipping problems that can happen. Yeah. It is wild.
Right.
Speaking of wild, let's go to our next one. This is one of the most sought after titles for the last couple of years because Kino announced in October of 2023 that they were releasing the 4 Ilsa movies on 4K, and we finally have details on the very first one. September 30th, we are getting a 4K release of Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS from 1975. This is number 37 in the Kino cult line. This has a brand new HDR Dolby Vision master. There's an audio commentary by the actress Diane Thorne, the director Don Edmonds, producer David F. Friedman, moderated by Martin Lewis. That's an archival commentary. There's a new commentary by Kat Ellinger and Eugenie Melodic. There's an interview with Don Edmonds that Elijah Drenner was able to do, I believe, earlier this year. And then a trailer. Now, a lot of people was thinking that these were going to be a box sets. Now, we are still going to get a box set. Kino has said that in the various forums that they've been talking about this and commenting. The hard part is we have no idea when. They're not going to do a box set until all 4 of the standalone releases have been released and people have bought all those up, and then they will put them all together in a box set. So make sure if you're wanting all 4 of them and you want to save some bucks, it will likely be at least slightly cheaper. The hard part, you've already waited almost 2 years for this is to come to fruition. You could be waiting another, I don't know, year and a half before that box set. So
might be some
how
time,
much do you want them?
Yeah.
Nazi exploitation. Have you ever checked out many Nazi exploitation films?
I haven't, but this one's been on my radar largely because we're doing a series later this year. For the next reel, we're jumping back. Like we did a 2025 film talking about ballerina, then we're doing 2000, 1975, 1950, 1925. So we're doing a whole series. And for 75, we're doing like pioneering visions in global cinema. And I was really tempted to include this on the list. But at the very least, what I'm wanting to do is like throw this out as a potential member bonus episode, see if the members vote on it. But I'm very curious about this one for sure.
Corinne is pointing out Gestapo's Last Orgy is amazing. And then Adam says The Beast in Heat rocks. No, not really. That's true. The movie is bad. However, I believe, where is it? Is that the one that's got the documentary on it? So The Beast in Heat. Yes. So this release from Severin of The Beast in Heat is the one that has, it's called Fascism on a Thread, The Strange Story of Nazi Exploitation Cinema, new feature-length documentary. You should own this disc for that documentary.
I really should. I definitely need to
the movie's not great, but the documentary is good. I probably shouldn't say that the week before a Severin sale, but buy the disc, just not for that reason. Don't even watch the movie. Watch the documentary. Speaking of Severin, they are putting out a 4K release of Brian De Palma's Sisters inspired remake from 2006. That was mean. I should not have said it like that. Sisters, directed by Douglas Buck and starring Chloe Sevigny. I've never heard much great about this movie. I've never seen this one. Have you seen this one?
I haven't seen this one. Yeah, I would be curious to. It would be an interesting side-by-side comparison. Like sometimes with these sorts of remakes, I find it like that's kind of an interesting way to do it, just to really see try to figure out what they were going for.
Yeah. I mean, supposedly this is like pretty shot for shot for a lot of it, at least until the ending, which is an interesting choice to think, to like have the gumption to say, I'm going to remake a De Palma movie shot for shot because I can do that. That's a choice.
And it really is. Really is. Yeah.
So this is going to have an audio commentary with the director and with David Gregory of Severin. There's an archival documentary on here as well. This will have a soundtrack CD, just like we talked about with the other Severin stuff. There's some archival extras on the Blu-ray release, including Glass Eye Pictures presents Tales from Beyond the Pale: Hidden Records by Douglas Buck with Kevin Kline and Tony Todd. I'm not sure what that is, but I kind of want to check that out.
Interesting.
It sounds very interesting. Yeah, this is one that I'm more curious on the features than the film, I think.
Yeah. Again, it would be interesting to kind of just look at and see what they were intending to do with it. But
yeah, I love the comments here. Gary says, yeah, that worked out well for the Psycho remake. And then Sibner says, like someone tried to remake a Hitchcock film shot for shot, but who would ever do that? What I always say with that is like, if I were Gus Van Sant and a studio offered me the chance to do that, hell yeah. Like the things that you could learn as a filmmaker of actually crafting like a Hitchcock film shot for shot. Like, I feel like he probably learned so much in the process of just how to cut a film, construct it, everything. That, I mean, it's just like invaluable, and you're getting paid to do it. Like, I would absolutely do it. But yeah, then you have the result, and you have to live with that, I suppose. The ramifications of remaking a master's work. Oh boy. Next one, man, I'm very curious about this one because I have never seen this movie, and I'm sure many of you in the chat have. Very curious because I seem to really like Kevin Costner's, at least around this era. I know that he's kind of an asshole right now. But October 7th, we're getting a 4K steelbook from Sony of Silverado from 1985. Now, this coming from Sony, I guarantee this is going to look amazing. Of course, it's a steelbook only release, which sucks. I'm not standing up for that at all. But how do you feel about Silverado? Have you seen this?
It's a very fun movie. I think my initial reaction to it was confusion because I didn't think a Western should be funny. And I think like I struggled with that initially, and then I got over myself. And it's a very, very fun movie. And I mean, the cast is great with Kevin Kline and John Cleese is in it. And it's just, it's kind of a great time. It's a very easy, fun movie to watch.
It sounds like it, especially with that cast. It certainly is one that I'm probably going to give a watch to. I love that Adam has me pegged and says Ryan doesn't watch Westerns. I do. Just not many, but yeah, you're right, Adam. I'm sorry. It's no Fandango. I still have not watched Fandango. Damn it, I need to. And then Silverado's a fun film and great soundtrack. Thanks, Danny.
Yeah, great soundtrack, absolutely.
All right, going to our next one. This is an incredible movie. We've got August 26th from Warner Archive, a 4K of Get Carter. Now, the hard part here is BFI released this on 4K 2022 or 2023. This is literally the exact same release. So if you've got the BFI, you certainly don't need this. This is literally the same restoration. They're using the BFI. They even reference it. I believe this has all of the exact same extras. If anything, the BFI might even have one extra one, but they're pulling over like some of the talks that happened over at the BFI. So not a lot that you're going to be missing either way, but this movie is a masterpiece. How do you feel about Get Carter?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. It's a great film. I haven't seen the remake. It was not a remake that I was itching to see, but I haven't heard terrible things about it. So maybe it's worth a check. But and you know, I mean, I have such an easy time watching Michael Caine, you know, in pretty much anything, even when he's doing his Jaws the Revenges. But this, I just on a Michael Caine thing, I'd love to see them do a 4K of Gambit, which is one of my favorites in this era of Michael Caine. But I mean, Get Carter is absolutely a fun one.
I think Kino released that on Blu-ray.
On Blue, yeah, they have the Blue that came out like 3 years ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. Yeah, 2022. So, I mean, it's Kino. I wouldn't put it past them to put that on 4K.
I know. Fingers crossed.
So that's the beginning of Warner Archive. This is their third 4K release. Just keep in mind, it's the first one was announced like last November, I think it was. And so in 8 months, they've announced 3. They've already said they're not going to be doing a lot of 4Ks. So probably 3 or 4 a year is probably about the pace that we're going to get from Warner Archive. That being said, they do incredible work on their restorations, and the BFI did great with this. So being able to see them put that amount of work into a 4K, if you're only getting 3 or 4, at least they're going to be incredibly high quality.
Absolutely.
And now, some more from this slate from them. We get That Midnight Kiss from 1949, another one that I've not seen, Technicolor musical. Have you seen That Midnight Kiss?
I have not seen this one. I'm trying to look at it and see if I've even heard of this one. It's kind of like it's just one of these ones that completely escaped me, but it looks interesting. And this, just going back to like posters and art, I love when you just use old art, poster art like this. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, this really
director great. Is very big in the Elvis films.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this 4K scan of the original Nitrate Technicolor negatives, which just chef's kiss. This is going to look beautiful, guaranteed. Color film, and then special features wise, they got a deleted musical outtake called One Love of Mine, which that's really cool that we're getting this so many years later. There's a classic MGM cartoon on here called Heavenly Puss, and one called Senor Droopy. And then you got the trailer. I'm glad that they threw some extras on here. That's a big deal. Because at least 1 or 2 of these do not have any extras. Next up is a movie called Seven Women from 1966, which is directed by a little-known director that you may have heard of called John Ford. This is, I believe, his last film, and a movie that people have been dying to see on Blu-ray for quite some time. 4K scan of the OCN. Another color movie. Special features on this, we got an MGM cartoon that won an Oscar called The Dot and the Line, and a trailer. John Ford. How do you feel about John Ford?
I mean, fantastic filmmaker. I think that he does some really interesting things. I think I struggle with some of them just more because of just like I'm less interested in some of the content, but I enjoy how he puts his films together. I'm wondering, like, is this his version of Seven Samurai? I mean, I'm reading this synopsis here. Anne Bancroft stars in this moving drama set in 1935 about a remote Chinese mission run by American women that's overtaken by warring bandits. I just like, do the 7 women stand up or do they? I don't know. It piques my curiosity now.
That is possible. Yeah. I don't know anything about it. Let's keep going. But yeah, John Ford, obviously this is a big deal. A lot of people exploded when this got announced. I'm quite happy with it. 1949's Intruder in the Dust is the next one. By the way, I don't know that I said the date. I apologize. All these are coming on August 26th from Warner Archive. Intruder in the Dust has a 4K scan of best preservation elements. And for special features on this one, you got MGM Shorts Playlands of Michigan and Counterfeit Cat. Not a lot I know about this one, but I know that I've seen this poster many, many times. I'm glad they're including this. It's a Clarence Brown film. I don't know anything about this, though. Do you know anything about this one?
No, I'm just looking at I mean, it sounds like an interesting one. So this might be one worth checking out, too.
Warner Archive pretty much only puts out the stuff that they can make sound interesting, at least, I will say.
True.
The other one that I'm excited about this drop is 1943's The Hard Way with Ida freaking Lupino. This is a powerful film featuring an unforgettable performance by leading lady Ida Lupino. The Hard Way is a gripping drama that in certain ways is a precursor to the same story dynamics to be found years later in the remarkable musical play Gypsy. Lupino takes center stage, so to speak, as Helen Chernin, a strong-willed woman who wants to get herself and her talented kid sister Katie out of their jerkwater hometown. And if that means using people and throwing them away, that's what Helen will do. It's got a 4K scan of the original nitrate negative as well. And as far as extras, you get nothing. Yeah, I mean, anything would have been nice to see on the disc. There's a lot of people that would love to work with Warner Archive for freaking free. Yeah, the hard way. Ida Lupino. Any Ida Lupino love for you?
Yeah, I mean, she's a great performer, and I just think that she's. I've seen too little of, I think, is probably what I should say. But I've enjoyed seeing her in stuff, and it would be. This sounds interesting, so I'm very curious now to check this one out.
Yep, and if that was somehow not enough from Warner Archive for you, what is possibly the biggest release for them this month, especially in terms of running time, we are also getting the Huckleberry Hound Show, the complete original series. This is an 11-disc collection, running 2,175 minutes. This is wild. This also has black and white commercials interspersed in all the color cartoons. There's some special features. We got these are all ported over from the DVD. We got Huckleberry Quotes, the remix, music video celebrating memorable Hound quotes, Huckleberry Hound, a linguistic masterpiece, Hound Speak as humorously interpreted by a linguistics professor, which, oh my gosh. The legendary sound of Dawes Butler, an affectionate remembrance of the brilliant voice artist who lent his talents to voice Huck and Yogi, among many other beloved characters. This, for me, to get all 68 episodes of the Huckleberry Hound Show in one collection on Blue is kind of amazing. Brand new HD masters from the original camera negatives for all of these is huge. And for somebody that loves animation, I cannot wait to own this.
I loved Huckleberry Hound as a kid, like these cartoons and Droopy Dog and just like all of these sorts of characters were so fun. And so this is pretty exciting. This is an exciting one to see.
Another one that made a lot of people comment and get very excited about. But again, 11 discs. This is going to be a little more expensive than Warner Archive stuff usually is, but it's 68 episodes, all brand new remastering. I don't normally say this, but like this is one that I'm going to support simply to support because I want them to keep doing stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is it for Warner Archive. And we go from Huckleberry Hound to frickin' Martyrs from 2008.
Quite a shift.
A little bit of a shift. October 27th, Eureka in the UK is releasing the new French Extremity masterpiece from 2008, Martyrs. This is going to get a limited edition hardbound release that is limited to 4,000 copies. This will have a 4K and a Blu-ray disc. This is the uncut version of the film. It says new artwork, which I think is great, although I guess the front cover is slightly spoilerish, which is a little tough. This has a 100-page hard case, 100-page book featuring new cover art and everything. Lots of new writing, new extras on here, new commentary with Nia Edwards-Bay, co-director of Arbitoire Home Horror Film Festival, new interview with one of the actors, new interview with new French Extremity expert Alice Haylett-Bryan, new visual essay on Martyrs and Body Horror by Xavier Aldana Reyes, then a bunch of archival extras. This is amazing. How do you feel about Martyrs? Have you taken the time to sit down and watch Martyrs?
I have not seen this one, but it's been on my list forever. I saw it, I don't know, ages ago on one of those best horror films to check out of the decade or whatever. And so it's been on a list for me. It's sitting in my watch list. I absolutely need to check it out. And the new French Extremity is such an interesting kind of a subgenre that I would love to explore also over on CinemaScope. I just again haven't gotten around to it, but this one really fascinates me. I might pick it up just to give myself the reason to finally watch it.
I was about to say that would be a pretty incredible CinemaScope episode because you can cover most of the genre with your bonus episode and with the regular episode total. So
yeah,
we might have to talk after. The big thing with Eureka, as Gary is pointing out, Eureka has free international shipping with no minimum. So if you are ever after a Eureka title and you don't want to go like to Orbit DVD because you got to get 3 titles for free shipping, Eureka ships anywhere in the world, even if you buy a single disc, for $0, and they don't charge you tax. I don't know how. They have a deal with the devil, but I mean, why not support that? I mean, that's pretty great.
No kidding. That is how do they? That's wild.
I don't know how, but they do it. And the crazy thing is that if you like pre-order 5 titles and they come out at different times, they ship you each one as they're available. Wow. So you never pay for shipping. You get 5 shipments maybe.
I don't know how they do that. That's wild.
So Martyrs, I know that a lot of people have never seen this based on reputation alone. I will say this is a very bloody movie. It is a very gory movie. However, this movie is a deep movie. It is definitely one that I think is important for people to see. I adore this movie. I think that it is a tough watch, but one that most people should if you think you might be able to handle it. I love that Stan says, I must have this, but I will never watch it. Once is enough. And I get that, but like I could watch Martyrs probably once or twice every couple of years at least. Yeah, I need this on 4K. This is going to be beautiful. The Shark Hunter is the next title coming from Severin as part of their sale. The Shark Hunter is from 1979. It will also have the soundtrack CD, as they're doing on many of these releases. Special features for this, we got a reunion between Enzo G. Castellari and the actor Franco Nero, some big names in this one. We got an interview with the producer Enzo Doria. There's a trailer and then the soundtrack CD. And this is so cool that they have now done 3 different shark movies as part of just this one sales slate. And we'll talk about that more in just a minute. But yeah, the Shark Hunter, I'm sure that this is probably not one that has passed your radar.
I mean, look at that. Look at the art right there. Like it makes me want to push play on it. It's just, it's like these movies, like they've tapped into something with this crazy, just the weird and over the top nature of these Italian films. And so this is one that I really want to see.
Yeah, the Italian sharksploitation genre that they are hitting hard right now looks to be very, very fun. And for those that don't know, Enzo G. Castellari is also the director of The Last Shark, which is like the infamous essential Jaws ripoff that is getting a Blu-ray from Treasured Films in the next month, I think, actually. So lots of shark stuff right now if you're super into it. Next up, Kino Lorber on September 30th is putting out a 4K and a Blu-ray set and single releases of the Airport 4-film collection. So you can buy each individual movie if you only like the first one or the Concorde or whatever, or you can buy all 4 at once in a set. The set will have this sleeve style packaging, which I kind of hate, instead of cases, and it will also have a booklet, or you can buy the standalone single releases with the slip covers. Really good looking release overall that they're putting this out. I'm glad they're doing it. But the films, this is a big deal. We've got Airport. We've got Airport 1975, Airport 77, and then The Concorde, Airport 79. Disaster movies from the 70s. How do you feel about these?
They are fun. It is definitely its own whole subgenre that popped up at that period of time. I have a lot of fun with these movies. These were movies that I watched a lot on TV when they would play. Like my grandma and I would watch all of these, and I there are so many characters that you get to know in these films that I lose track of like which ones were in which movie that I watched. But regardless, I have a lot of fun with them. That being said, I haven't seen, I watched Airport, I don't know, probably the last 10 years or so, but I haven't seen the other 3. I'd be curious to see how they hold up today, you know?
Dell's pointing out that in one of these, George Kennedy flies a Concorde upside down.
Of course he does. It's George Kennedy.
Speaking of George Kennedy, the names that show up in these movies. So Burt Lancaster, Dean Martin, Charlton Heston, Jack Lemmon, Alain Delon, James Stewart, Christopher Lee, Robert Wagner, and of course, George Kennedy. There is so much in here. One of the things I really want to point out, though, is their restoration information. So the very first one, which arguably is the most important here because it kind of started the whole thing. It led to Airplane, like all of this stuff. This is a brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master. Now, here's where it gets interesting. From a 4K scan of the 35 millimeter interpositive reduction element, which all that to say, this is not going to be a great looking 4K. We lost a lot of fidelity from the OCN getting to this point. This is not great source material. And I have a feeling that they really just needed to put all 4 of them on 4K to make the set work, because really this probably shouldn't have had a 4K with that element being the best that they got. They probably should have only done a Blu-ray for that one. The other 3 sequels, though, 4K scans of the OCN. So those are all going to look pretty great, guaranteed. We got new commentaries on all 4 movies from people like Julie Kurgo, C. Courtney Joyner. We've got Steve Mitchell, Nathaniel Thompson, Peter Hankoff, Julie Kurgo again. Lots of good stuff here. Craig says reduction element, was it shot in 70? No, I believe it was shot in 65. Which, again, not great here. Not great.
It looks like, look on Wikipedia. It says 70 millimeter Tadeo. Huh.
Maybe I was wrong. All right. 70 millimeter reduction element for a 4K. Yeah, I'm very curious to see how that one looks. I want these because I love 70s disaster movies, but now I don't know if I should just maybe swing for the blue for the first one. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I'll wait on reviews. That's for sure.
There you go. Yeah.
This looks really good, actually. August 19th, Wellgo USA is releasing Invincible Swordsman from this year. This says, fabled swordsman Ling Hu Chong was ready to retire his sword when a chance encounter with the dangerous cult leader forced him back into the action. As the evil Invincible East threatens the peaceful realm of Jianghu with her demon cult, Chong picks up his weapon and defends the land with a ragtag crew of misfit warriors and this mystical wuxia throwback, starring Tim Hoying as Chong, Zhang Yuqi as Invincible East, and featuring a guest appearance from the one and only Sammo Hung in 2025.
Wow.
This looks great. Watch the trailer. It looks really fun. I'm very curious about this. Oh, there you go. Gary found the answer. It was shot in 65, but it was made for 70 millimeter prints.
There you go.
I wonder, does the 65 millimeter exist still on Airport? Because you could have scanned that.
Yeah. It's an Academy Award nominated movie, and so you'd think that they would put some money behind it, but I don't know. It could just be it doesn't look pretty. I don't know.
All right. So Invincible Swordman, this looks great. Watch the trailer. It looks really, really fun, actually.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Only got a couple left. The next one is The Night of Death from 1980. This is coming on September 8th on Blu-ray in the UK from Nucleus Films. This is part of their European cult cinema collection. This one sounds super interesting. I've not seen that this got a different Blu-ray, so very curious about this. New transfer in 1.66 ratio from the original camera negative. They're very specific about that. This is the uncensored version with the new audio commentary with Jonathan Rigby and Kevin Lyons. There's some archival extras on here, and Nucleus has been stepping up and doing a couple random releases that seem to be pretty good. So I like the poster on this.
Yeah, the poster, it's a really nice poster, kind of with the river of blood coming down from the house and everything. And it looks real interesting. I haven't heard of this one, and but it's one of those that, like, the poster, just the cover art alone would make me curious to pick up.
Yeah, looks like a very nostalgic poster for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arcane League of Legends Season 2 is getting a release from Shout Studios. This is getting a 4K Steelbook, a Blu-ray Steelbook, and then a standard Blu-ray, all in the U.S., coming on October 21st. You can pre-order those now. I know nothing about this, but I know that a lot of people seem to love the show. So Arcane League of Legends.
Yeah, it's a show I've heard good things about, but I haven't checked it out.
Okay, so the shark exploitation stuff. After all of this, Severin came out and said, "Listen, we're putting out 3 shark movies that are all Italian shark exploitation films. Of course, we're going to put it in a box." So they're releasing Feeding Frenzy, the Italian shark exploitation collection box. They're saying that since you already know that this is going to include the 3 titles, we can now reveal that this trilogy of teeth to tail fin delights belongs to a shiver we call Feeding Frenzy, our exclusive rigid slipcase with a new killer illustration by Rondo Awards Artist of the Year Mark Spears. Houses all 3 titles and will be available separately or in various bundles during the sale. You're going to need a bigger shelf. Ha, ha, ha.
I just love the art is right there. Its own little rip off of Jaws. It plays very well.
Yeah, very well. This looks good. I love shark movies. I'm probably going to need these eventually. Sadly, I don't know. I need the box set. They're probably not great, but I need them.
But they'll be fun. And
they will be fun.
That's more important.
Of course it is. We got a couple kind of low-key movies from Kino. We got September 9th getting a Blu-ray of Dear Ruth from 1947 with William Holden and Joan Caulfield. This has an audio commentary by Farron Smith Name. Not a movie that I've ever heard of before today. Have you heard or seen this one? No,
but I want to say this is one that I think it falls into kind of that period of like the war, like positive support for the war type of films that were coming out at the time.
Yeah, quite a few. There was a lot of those movies.
There were a lot, yeah.
The next one from them is Father Brown Detective from 1934, coming on Blu-ray from Kino on September 16th. This one with Walter Connolly and Paul Lucas. This has an audio commentary with Jason A. Nye and another 30s detective movie coming out that I have not seen.
Yeah, this is one that I feel like I've heard the title, but I think that's it. So I'm curious to get a sense as to what it's about.
Yeah, solid sounding film at least.
Yeah.
That is it, which there's a lot. I can't believe that we covered that much this week. Busy week. And next week for releases, not just announcements, but next week for releases is going to be a big one too. Reminder that tomorrow the Hans Zimmer Live in Prague 4K comes out. I've got that one on the way and cannot wait. It got delayed. But then next Tuesday, tons of stuff. So we've got the Cobra 4K from Arrow, the Stuff 4K from Arrow as well. Small Soldiers 4K Steelbook is finally going to be shipping, and a lot of people are excited about that one. You Can Count on Me 4K and Carnal Knowledge 4K, both from Criterion. Danger Diabolic 4K from Kino. Madagascar 4K from the studio. Brand new Final Destination Bloodlines 4K Blu-ray and Steelbook and all that fancy stuff that is getting released next week. Knight Rider, the complete series on 4K, coming out next week. Bewitched, the complete series is finally getting released here in the U.S. We've got the Serenity 4K Steelbook dropping that had that controversial art that people did not seem to love. The Beast to Die from Radiant, Silent Scream 4K from Dark Force and Kino together. The Night Watch collection from Arrow. Little Buddha 4K from Kino, Rosa LeRose Film Public from Radiance as well. Strangers with Candy, the film from 2006, Blu-ray from Shout. Fight or Flight coming out next week as well from the studio. All We Imagine Is Light from Criterion. Detonation Violent Riders from 88 Films. Ash from Shudder. Saraband for Dead Lovers 4K from Indicator. The Last Voyage of the Demeter 4K Steelbook is coming out as an Amazon exclusive from Shout. The Tattooed Dragon from 88 Films, I believe. Mr. Peter's Pets and Everybody Loves It. Nudie Cutie triple feature is coming from Kino next week. Original Sin, Northern Lights, Solo Leveling Season, Walking with Dinosaurs from the BBC, bunch of anime stuff. Man, lots next week. Are there any of these that are on your list there, Andy?
The Night Watch collection is one I'm really curious about picking that one up. And, we were talking about the, kind of the Kung Fu Panda. The Madagascar films are also ones that the kids and I had a lot of fun with. And so it's entirely possible that one will end up getting picked up. And Danger Diabolic is a wackadoo film I would have fun rewatching that one.
For sure. It is beautiful. I love that as I was reading this, I got a shipping notification for my Hans Zimmer Live in Prague.
Hey.
Nice. Cannot wait. Next week, lots of stuff coming out. I still have not got Cobra or the stuff in 4K. That is on the way to me as well from Brother Belial, and the stuff is one of my favorites, so I'm very eager to see that. Look at that.
Right there.
Look at that. Yeah. Beautiful looking release. I can't believe they got the work print. Like, this is a pretty big week for them.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, we covered all the releases. That's huge. Thanks for going through all that.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of really interesting movies that will be fun to pick up and revisit.
Update from Deaf Crocodile. Reprints of our sold-out Visitors from the Arcana, Galaxy, Bubble Bath, and the Assassin of the Tsar are all coming by the end of the month. Each will have limited slipcover editions available from Diabolic DVD.
Nice.
Really, really cool there. Let's get in to J-Horror. So, J-Horror, what was your first foray into J-Horror?
It was probably around the time that they started remaking them with The Ring, the American remake that Gore Verbinski did in 2002, and then The Grudge in 2004. And that pushed me to go back and see the originals. And I had a buddy at the time who was like, oh, well, then you also got to check out like these ones. And so like Suicide Club and like all of these different movies. And so it just kind of pushed me to start watching a lot of these things. And I don't know, it's a different feel for what you're getting from typical horror movies and stuff, you know? And so I don't know, I really enjoy the tone of the way that they're exploring different elements of their society. And I find that to be such an exciting piece of all of it.
What are for anybody that's not ever really given a deep dive, how do you define, because obviously there's all kinds of different genres, but like what are some landmark traits of J-horror that you find interesting?
Landmark traits of J-horror is there's a lot like you're not getting as much gore necessarily that you would get in like Western horror. There's a lot more psychological and a lot more trauma. I don't know. It's so funny because, you know, these dumb terms like, you know, like elevated horror or things like that it's just like, really, it's horror. And like, that's kind of where you were going with this sort of stuff first. But also I love when they start exploring technology and our relationships with that, you know, and I think that the Japanese culture looks into some of those in such interesting ways, whether it's like videotapes or the internet or whatever, and just how it kind of explores that in the horror scape, which so often when they get remade in America just don't capture the essence.
They lose their nuance quite a bit, sadly. And there's been some good ones. Obviously, like one of the ones that is most likely going to get brought up tonight is Ringu, and I really enjoy the remake for that. But it's still a very different feeling remake. But I think they both definitely have their merits.
That and The Grudge, I think both actually were pretty strong. And then you start getting like One Missed Call and things that just, it's like they're not hitting the same.
Exactly. One of the other big things that you see a lot in J-horror is this focus on the supernatural in a very specific style of way. Like the J-horror depiction of a ghost is a very common thing that has become troped overall, and it is something that is probably going to come up in at least a couple of these that we're talking about tonight.
Oh yeah.
That is a pretty good primer on this. It is kind of an odd thing to discuss, I guess, in a way. Should bring up the idea of J-horror or K-horror as a genre in itself, because in all reality, it's just horror from a country, and really all we're talking about is Japanese horror films. So there is a lot that you could break this down into, like different eras or movements within J-horror, but really there's kind of a defining time frame where J-horror exploded, and I've certainly got some from that on my list that I'm going to talk about, but I tried to go a little wider too, just to capture some different eras. And
nice.
a lot of my picks are going to feel very obvious, but I don't think they get talked about in the idea of J-horror itself, and more so just like the pantheon of horror as a wider topic. And
Sure.
so very curious to see how those feel in discussion in these tonight. So,
well, and it's interesting because like as I was talking with one of my guests for our upcoming episode about it, I was asking that too. I'm like, well, I mean, should we include things like, Kuroneko or Kwaidan in it? And they're like, well, that's not really J-horror. It's like Japanese horror. And so it's like, so I'm really curious to like have that conversation with them to like narrow down the specifics. But for them, like the way that they define it is like J-horror is a specific subgenre within Japanese horror that really kind of rose in the 90s. And so you started really seeing a lot of the different specific ways that they were taking the direction of horror films at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to learn more from them about all of that.
Well, let's hear what is the first J-horror film that you want to bring up tonight?
The first one that I want to bring up is I hadn't even heard of this before. It was in that great J-horror box set that came out.
Ooh, nice.
Like a year or so ago. Is Noroi the Curse, directed by Koji Shiraishi, and it is told as a fitting for talking about this with you because we just discussed found footage horror. It very much fits into that kind of found footage vibe. It's like a pseudo documentary as we're following this paranormal investigator who is exploring this world of this curse that's happening, where this house had burned. His house had burned down, and so it's actually other filmmakers who are now following him. It gets kind of that meta found footage nature of it because he ended up getting. He finished this project and then ends up dead. And so now you have these other filmmakers who are exploring his story as he goes through this process. And he's investigating this woman and her son, and that like dead birds are showing up around them. And it's like this, they're annoying their neighbors because the neighbors keep hearing all these crying babies and they're like, what is going on? And so he's like trying to talk to this woman and she's just so nasty and he never can talk to her. And he keeps just kind of like following this investigation and eventually kind of leading to kind of a better understanding of what's actually going on with this curse. But what is so interesting about the way that the film is constructed is like it literally feels like you're watching a TV episode exploring how this person following this curse trying to figure it out. Like we cut to news clippings and they're like reading through the newspapers, and we cut to other TV shows. Like we cut to this completely unrelated show that happened to have this psychic come on and like this appearance with this psychic who then attacks this woman, and both of those characters end up becoming very important later. It is a wild film, and it's probably my favorite of that whole box set. It's a really interesting one. It gets better every time I watch it. So that's where I wanted to start.
That box set, it's a good box set. I think Noroi, for me, is the best film in the box set.
Yeah.
It is quite enjoyable. This is a really good, if you're not going to start with one of like the giant names like Ju-on or Ringu, I think Noroi is actually one of the better starting points to get into J-horror because it's a very good bridge film because it feels a bit Western in some of the ways that it's shot and some of the ways that you can like ingest this movie, but definitely has roots in J-horror that are very, very important here. I love this movie. I think that this is a very, very great choice to bring up here. That box set from Arrow is big. I hope they keep doing more, or somebody does. I had heard from some people I know that we've been seeing a ton of Hong Kong releases over the last 4 years now that have just been inundated by every label out there, which is great. I'm glad they're getting releases, nothing against them. But eventually when you're releasing that many, it's going to be hard to keep that glut of titles coming. We're not going to have elements for all of them or rights for some of them. So from what I'm hearing is that we might start seeing a little slight shift to the Japanese area. And if this is an indication for Arrow that, hey, we feel confident in putting out a box set like this, I hope people supported it in a way that we get more, because there's a lot of really great J-horror that has never been, like outside of Netflix in the US. There's some that have gotten some like digital release for a year and then never seen again, illegally at least. Yeah, and right. It would be really great to see many of those come to disc. And this is one that people had wanted for a long time. So I'm glad it got a respectful release. It is a great title.
Definitely.
Okay, so I was trying to determine what order to go through here, because chronological is just kind of boring. I wanted to make it fun, but I just happened to still go with the oldest one first, because this is one that I feel like is kind of the granddaddy for me in so many different ways, because it's so surreal and supernatural and weird in so many different ways. But I wasn't going to be able to talk about J-horror without bringing up 1977's House. Nobuhiko,
I was wondering, yeah.
is one of those people, and obviously right now I'm working on like 4 Obayashi titles for Cult Epics, and he is so stylized and carries so much of that over through films like School in the Crosshairs, which has very specific, very house-related imagery, because he learned how to do it with House and people loved it, and then he carried that over. That House is just special. If somehow you have never seen House, it has a beautiful Criterion release, but this is essentially about somebody that is trying to find a connection to her mother that passed away, and she takes a trip to the countryside to visit her relatives. I think it's an aunt and uncle, or just aunt, whatever, but she brings a bunch of her friends, and through this journey, there's a bunch of weird stuff that happens. Weird is putting it lightly, but you're going to see imagery that you've never seen in any other movie. There are like floating cat heads. There are weird, surreal things that just make you feel not. And it's not even like that scary of a movie. It's just it's deranged in a weird way. And it's a weird foundational like introduction to just this frenetic style that is wild. And Obayashi, like I said, carries that over to so many of his other movies. So not only is it a fun, weird gateway into like starting J-horror, to get into his filmography, this is such a great one to inspire you, because it's probably the most accessible of those, as in terms of the weird ones. But he does have some very like normal films after that still, so there's still a lot to see. But Obayashi is just great with leaning into like the medium of making this movie and making you feel things based on seeing the absurd. These are not things that are realistic in any way. It's just a matter of, this is just a wild movie, and I don't know why, but I like it. You should watch House from 1977 if you haven't.
It is crazy. That's like my words when I finished, like, was a crazy ass movie. It is bonkers off the wall, but it's very alive and just full of this manic energy. So it's definitely one to check out, but be prepared for that type of movie when you step into it. Because some people are like, I can't with this. It's too much. But,
if you're wanting like a calm ghost story, this is not the one.
It's definitely not. It looks like almost like a comic strip. The way.
Absolutely. What is the next one for you?
I'm jumping to 2013 with a film directed by Maria Sato called Bilocation, which is, it's an interesting, you can probably call it J-horror. You could probably also call it like psychological sci-fi sort of movie. There's different ways you could look at this, but it's a story about doppelgangers is really what it is. And you have our protagonist who wants to be a painter, and she ends up falling in love and with a man who comes to her door when she moves into the building, and so they fall in love. And then she's like torn, like, do I pursue my life as a painter or do I just pursue my family life? And in this particular world, there are a few people where it happens where when you have that moment in your life where you feel pulled in two different directions, you actually there's a doppelganger version of you that gets created, and they don't live for very long when they appear. It's like, I can't remember, it's very specific, like 23 minutes and 58 seconds or something. And they have to appear within a certain range of you, but that makes it really interesting because suddenly, and they have like all the same feelings that you do and everything. So if your doppelganger, if you're in love with your husband and your doppelganger appears and sees your husband, then the doppelganger is going to want to be with him. And you end up, if there are two versions of you that have like the same memories and the same desires and everything, which one are you then, you know? Yeah. And the film really kind of starts pursuing that to a point where as you go, you don't even realize that. I probably shouldn't even spoil it. I'll just say it's fascinating the way that Asato chooses to tell the film, because you really start, you can't tell if you should be rooting for the person or their doppelganger. And there ends up being like this whole, like, there's a club of people who get together who are suffering from having their doppelgangers, and they're getting together to try talking about it. This cop has a doppelganger who has pulled into all of his incredibly violent reactions that he can't do when he's on the job because he has to be calm and collected. And so he's split because he needs an outlet for that violence. And his violent doppelganger starts doing some terrible, terrible things. I just watched this. I'm not talking about it on my upcoming show, but I hadn't heard of it, and it was like instantly just like a favorite discovery of mine. So I absolutely recommend checking this one out by location.
How'd you see this one?
It's on Tubi right now.
Shit, I have to watch this movie now. You said the magic word. I adore doppelganger movies, and I've never seen this one, and that sounds kind of incredible.
I think you would love this one.
By location on Tubi. Great. I have to watch it. Next, one of the first things that sprung to mind when we decided to talk about J-horror is I knew that I had to talk about I think this was the first J-horror movie that I ever saw, and that is Kenji Fukasaku's Battle Royale from 2000. This movie is one that most of you have probably seen. It's been sort of beat to death like Texas Chainsaw Massacre over the last 10 or 15 years with a bunch of different fancy releases. Arrow has got all the blood out of this stone many, many times for sure with their releases. But this movie is still, I don't know, like under discussed since it's so prolific now. I feel like everybody just sort of sees it as a given, even though this movie is kind of a masterpiece. I mean, you take a classroom full of ninth graders, you drug them, put them on an island, and then say, go kill each other. And this movie is so unafraid to hold back at anything. I mean, you have everybody that is willing to take just the craziest of weapons, put them in a hand of a young teenager and say, go kill your best friend. And they do, and they show most of it. Like, this is, everybody joked around that this was the inspiration for the Hunger Games, and undoubtedly this definitely played a big part in that for sure. But it is so much better than the at least the first Hunger Games, because the Hunger Games is so tame compared to this movie. But I mean, the way that you go through the psychological torture of, if you don't follow the rules in this quote game that we're playing, we'll kill you, and we don't care. And they prove that like 12 minutes into the movie. And so the rest of the movie, there's just this underlying boiling tension that is waiting to spill over on the edge of your pot as you're watching this movie. And so with every movement that you like, this kid's about to go around the corner, I'm empathizing with him. Is somebody about to shoot him? It is because of that. It's like uncut gems for me. Like, when I watch this movie, every time my heart rate is nonstop for this entire movie, because there's everything that everything is the enemy. Nothing in this movie is something that you can trust. And you find that out many times. There's so many betrayals in this film. There's so many things that you just see this incredible display of like wonderful acting, really great twists in the story that aren't treated as twists, just like, oh my gosh, that was crazy that they chose to do this. And then, of course, throughout this entire movie, you're watching some of these kids just do the worst things, all forgetting that Beat Takeshi is one of the main stars of this movie, and you've watched him in some of the best movies of all time. Battle Royale is not respected enough, even though, again, it's kind of like ubiquitous for people because it's just always there.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. It really does feel like, because of the violent nature of it, that people view it as, oh, it's too much of it's a cult film, or it's like, it's a dark foreign version of Hunger Games, if they don't know which one came first. And you just get this sense that they just dismiss it too easily without realizing where it came from and everything. It's a powerful, solid film, and just the way that these kids have to take on this role in for the method, the reason for the whole thing. I mean, it's dark. It's like a frightening glimpse of some sort of like a terrible dystopian future. And it plays in a really incredible way. So great movie. I haven't seen the follow-up, but I feel like I need to. But yeah, it's a good one.
It's worth a watch once. The follow-up it doesn't hold even
as well.
A mostly burned down candle to the first movie. It is quite disappointing after watching that. It was definitely just, let's try to make some money.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It happens, especially with horror. I mean, that's a common thing, sadly. All right, your third choice.
My third one, this was one that I'd never heard of, and I'm going to be talking about this one on the show. The guest recommended this one because it's an interesting starting place. It's called Psychic Vision Jagan Ray. It is it's a short film. It's only, I think, 49 minutes long. It's like very, very short, but it's fascinating because it's made in 1988 by Teruyoshi Ishii. And we're following a reporter who is doing a story about a new pop singer. And so in most of the construction of the film, you're really looking at a movie that's a documentary of a very specific time in Japanese kind of 80s of the way that these producers and studios create their pop singers. And so that's kind of like what we're feeling, because we're following as this singer is prepping this new song, and it's all about this new song that she's going to sing called Lovecraft. But the mystery here is, like, she's going to sing the song. The producer was sent the lyrics for this song, but has no idea who wrote it. And that's kind of the crux of this. And then the composer writes the music, and we get to the point where we're actually filming the music video, and then just crazy stuff starts happening. And it is a quick film, 49 minutes, absolutely something worth checking out. Mainly because it gives you such an interesting glimpse into that pop singer culture in Japan, and then shifts the whole thing over with kind of a J-horror ghost and everything.
This sounds great, and would probably make a pretty fun pairing with one that I wasn't going to mention tonight, but it would be great to see this with Perfect Blue, it sounds like.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, this is one, I don't know if anyone's ever released it, but you can watch the whole thing on YouTube.
Nice. And short film. I mean, that's the
49 minutes, yeah.
This is just happenstance, but I'm going to choose another semi-short film that came out just the next year. One that is fundamental for me with J-horror because, first of all, this filmmaker is one of the best of all time. But 1989's Tetsuo the Iron Man, I felt like needed to be discussed tonight. Now, this is a movie that is kind of hard to discuss because it's just one that you sort of have to experience. Tetsuo the Iron Man is a industrial body horror movie about a man that gets cursed that starts putting metal all throughout his body and living a completely just transformed life as the film goes on, all leading to just a weird ending at the end that, again, you just sort of have to be there to live through the moment of this man turning into Tetsuo the Iron Man. It is a beautifully shot film. It once again feels very frenetic as you're watching it, because like, what the hell is happening while you're seeing this random imagery being here by Shinya Tsukamoto's just beautiful cinematography, and the way that they choose to tell the story is like quiet in a way, but at the same time, like, I don't know, it feels so, and it's obviously a little stereotypical to say it's a body horror movie, so it feels Cronenbergian, but there's something about this that is much more Cronenbergian than other body horror movies, because it just feels so lived in by the time you get to the end of the movie. It reminds me of the feeling of The Fly. Like, you've been there for the entire transformation. You've lived through this guy was just normal human to he is a completely different thing by the very end. And Tetsuo is one of those movies that will stick with you. You at the end will feel like quite frustrated because you have seen so much change and felt sort of invaded, just like our main character is in this movie. It is one that will stick with you for a while. Tetsuo is, again, a little hard to explain, but one of those that pretty much everybody should probably watch at least once. Tsukamoto, brilliant director. I know that we've said Arrow a lot tonight, but the Arrow box set that they did of his stuff is kind of a masterclass in his filmmaking. Some really great extras in there. I think that his films are very specifically Tsukamoto and worthy of his own discussion on its own, for sure.
It's my experience was it was a very difficult film to watch because it's like 16 millimeter black and white, so it's very like you think of things like Eraserhead or Pi. Like, it's very stark. It's a relentless pace. There's this pounding industrial score with it, and I was like, this is never going to end. But it became one that was less about understanding what was going on in the story and more just like the experience of it. You know, like, that's kind of where I went with this one. And like when I was a kid, this is a story that's going on. I didn't mean to go into this story, but when I was a kid, I would have, every time I had a high fever, I would have what I have since dubbed my steel wool nightmares, where like literally I was just like, whatever dream I was in, all of a sudden it's like steel wool coming in, just like eating everything around me, and I would just run, and the steel wool was just kind of like keep crunching down on everything around me until it finally, like, I was narrowed down to like a corner of a room or something, and then it would eat me and I'd wake up. Every time I was sick, I had that nightmare, and this movie made it feel like I was reliving those those nightmares. Like, it was a little extra challenging for me, but it's absolutely, like, I mean, to be able to kind of create that visceral experience for me, I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Vispian says here, Tsukamoto's filmography is nearly flawless. I would agree. Again, I think this one is sort of difficult because of the very nature of the way that this is made, but I think it's an important way to step into, and it's obviously it's his most well-known film, and it's one that you should see. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely, you really have to see it. It's just a tough one.
Yeah. All right, your fourth film.
I was debating, like, do I want to include any that are a little more well known? I mean, I guess I include Noroi, but the other one I want to include is it's, I think, equally important in a different way. This is Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Pulse from 2000, which is we talked about kind of like that technological look into films, and that's definitely where this film is going. You have this, it's really a story about the internet and how everyone can connect instantly, but it's kind of also created like this mass big of loneliness around, and that's really been growing. Especially, I mean, this film was really prescient because it's only gotten progressively worse with all the different social media tools and everything, not to mention pandemics and everything else that we've been living through. this film made in 2001, so the internet wasn't even around for a decade by the time he made this, and it's a story following some like some people who are like kind of starting to like lose people that they like they're just not showing up for work or something, and like they go over to their house to figure out like what's going on, and they're there but they're kind of not there, and it's very slow paced. If you know Kiyoshi Kurosawa's films, definitely kind of that slow paced, very kind of like mood horror, and that's what you get here. As like you're talking to somebody, and then they kind of go into the other room, and you follow along after a few minutes and find that they've hung themselves. Since it's like, wow, okay. It just kind of, and it keeps going from there as people are kind of getting more affected by this, and it's growing also, which is the other thing. It's a fascinating film, and it was. I saw Cure. I was trying to remember my introduction to Kurosawa, I think, was Cure, and then this, but both of them I think are just such top-notch films. But Pulse is, it's haunting. This is what I would like, an absolutely haunting film in the way that it tackles like technological loneliness.
So I must admit, I've been dying to see Pulse for quite some time. I have stayed away primarily because I did not like Cure.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know why. I'm probably wrong. I understand. I mean, obviously everybody loves Cure and worships it. For some reason, it just didn't land with me. And so Pulse sounds way more my style of film, even though Cure should have been my style too. That's why I'm worried. But I really think I will like this one. But yeah, not liking Cure has sort of pushed me away. So I will be watching this one soon.
Well, I mean, he's got that new film Cloud that maybe you start with that one and then you kind of work your way back to Pulse.
Appreciate the comment from Stan that says, yes, I am wrong. Thanks, Stan. Chime is another interesting one that you could check out. That's, again, it's only 45 minutes. And I think that one, I watched it on YouTube. It's also, I don't know, if you don't like Cure, I wonder where you'd stand with it. But if you're looking for something shorter, at least that might be another thing to like test the waters with before you jump into Pulse, which is a good 2 hours. So as I mentioned, I was trying to go from like 4 or 5 different eras isn't really the right word, but like groupings of films. And I felt like I needed to have one that was much more modern, but also this one sticks out like a sore thumb amidst the rest of what I'm talking about tonight. And it's because it's so damn charming. I had to bring up this movie, and I feel terrible because it's going to be another one that I can't talk about most of the movie, but I'm going to do my best here. 2017's One Cut of the Dead. This movie is a masterpiece, in my opinion. This is a movie that if you are ever somebody that's ever played around with the video camera at home or had the dream of making short films with your friends or watched movies and immediately said, I want to be able to make a story like that one day. One Cut of the Dead, I feel like, is one of the most consistent modern movies that when I watch it with other people, we walk away going, do you want to go make a movie right this moment? Because my God, I'm supercharged. One Cut of the Dead is a zombie movie about a bunch of individuals being attacked in this abandoned warehouse. You see them fighting off the zombies and trying to escape. And it's a film that is still feature length. It's not like an extra short film, but it flies by because of the way they tell this story. And you are completely turned on your head partway through this film to find out that the movie that you thought you were watching is not the movie you were watching at all. For those that have never seen One Cut of the Dead, that is a frustrating way to explain this, but please do not go watch a trailer. Do not find out from anybody else what this movie is about or what they thought of it. Don't read Letterboxd reviews first. Go watch this movie and know nothing about it. Truly a masterpiece. Now, this movie was carted out by Third Window Films a handful of years ago, and they're a company over in the UK, and they took it worldwide. They made this movie explode. And so around 2019, like early 2019 or late 2018. This finally left mainland Japan, and we get over here, and everybody finally saw it, and it has been everywhere since then. It had a really nice run on Shudder. There's been foreign remakes of this movie because it's such a brilliant way to make a film. Please go see One Cut of the Dead if you have not seen it. It is not like a quote zombie movie. You're not going to get the same sort of feeling like you would just hearing that this is a movie about zombies. This is one of the most cinematically grounded films of inspirational, like just making a fucking movie already type of feeling, because it's such a simplistic way to make a movie, and god dang is it just exciting. One Cut of the Dead, please tell me you've seen this and you love this.
I love this movie so much. It was such a fun. I'm not talking about this on my show, but it's something that I've had on my list forever, and so I'm just like trying to watch even more and just kind of get it all in. And like I knew very little about it other than just kind of like a cursory like tagline sort of thing. And so I had a sense as to what was going to happen, but the way that they played it was just so effective. I mean, I definitely say, just like Ryan said, go in not knowing anything about it. Just that's the best way to just go in and enjoy it. It was such a fun movie.
Yeah, it is so unique. That's the other thing. Like I have never seen anything remotely that gave me the feeling that this movie did.
Yeah, it's pure fun. I mean, I completely agree with you. Like you feel invigorated by the time it ends. Yeah.
All right, your final movie, sir. What is number 5?
Final movie. This is one that I unfortunately is probably hard to track down, but it's a really interesting film called The Inerasable from 2015, directed by Yoshihiro Nakamura, and it's the story of a novelist who writes. It's an interesting premise, like a novelist who writes novels based on like true ghost stories that people send into her. And then she takes those and adapts them and kind of creates a whole novel about it. So she gets a letter from a student about these sounds from her roommate or from her room in her apartment. And they start investigating and it becomes like this investigative reporter sort of thing with this author and this student as they then go around trying to figure out what is going on. And it plays like it's almost like this detective story is really what it ends up feeling like, because it's these two women who are who end up basically tapping into a particular property, or not even property, but just the land that even the property is on and everything else that had been built upon it. And they keep doing research and they find this terrible thing had happened. And they think that's the story. But there's a thread that makes them go, there's something else here. Let's talk to this person. And they're like, oh, well, there's also this whole other thing that had happened before that. And you start seeing it's kind of like, if you're familiar with The Grudge or Ju-on, that franchise, like it's this haunted place, and it just kind of like keeps attacking anybody who happens to come by. It's similar to that in the kind of the style, because there are all these different hauntings, and somehow they all end up kind of becoming related to each other, and you start seeing why. And so they go back, like I think over a century by the time you get to the final stories. And you start seeing, and also the sense that it's gone even before that. But you get this sense that, and this is something I find with these J-horror stories, is the sense that something doesn't just go away, right? Yeah. You can't just solve it like in an American horror film where you're just like, oh, I found this piece of jewelry that proved that this person was incriminated. This is the incriminating evidence we need to prove that this person killed that person, and now the ghost is free. Like that just doesn't happen. It's like, yeah, the ghost is still there, and now they're pissed, and all these other things are going to happen. This is one of those. It's definitely deliberately paced, I will say, and that you can kind of feel that in the tone, but it had this sense of dread that it carried along with it that it worked well for me. The Inerasable.
I have never heard of this one. I feel like this is not a title that gets out there very often. So that
no, it's very few people. I mean, only on Letterboxd, 794 people have watched it. So it's if you can find a copy of it, it's worth checking out. Or if anyone who distributes is looking at picking it up, who's listening.
Wow. Yeah, this sounds really good as well. Jeez. Some great recommendations tonight. I love J-horror. There's so much in here. Again, I was trying not to pick the biggest titles, but there's one that we've talked about, sort of all of the like subgenres of J-horror that have gone the eclectic route, the industrial route. There's a couple that I'm trying to choose from as my last. I surprisingly had 8 on my list. I was just like, hey, if he says one I have, I can.
Yeah,
choose
right.
one.
No, yeah.
But I'm for some reason finding myself drawn to one of the more extreme titles, and so this is one that, again, probably many of you have seen, but I feel like it still does not get enough attention because it has a reputation. So I got to talk about 1999's Audition. Takashi Miike. This was released by Arrow in, I think, 2019, and I would not be surprised at all if this was released in 4K at the end of this month. This is one of those movies that deserves more recognition. It's incredible, but. So this is a kind of a very tough movie to watch. Our main character, I think his name is Shigeru. He works at a film studio and he is widowed. He lost his wife a handful of years prior and wants to replace her finally. And so, understanding that he works at the studio, he says, let's hold some auditions. And so they bring all these women in, they hold these auditions, and they find one that he thinks is great, and of course it's a J-horror movie, so she's not as she seems. And this character is Asami, and this movie goes from 0 to like 150 and breaks the scale because there are some crazy things that happen in this movie. There's some very effective like pretty extreme gore shots. There's a really great scare in this movie that I don't know. It's, again, this is a really popular movie, so I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for you, but it will still be effective if you haven't seen it. There's a scene where you see this person, Asami, like preparing some things, and in the background you see like some stuff behind her, and then eventually you realize that's a garbage bag on the ground that eventually moves, and it's not the forefront of this scene. It is captured because Takashi Miike has directed like 194 movies, so he's kind of good at it at this point. He's got this framed in a way where she is like your sole focus, and you finally realize that this is like just some garbage behind her. But when that moves, it is such an unsettling, under your skin, creepy moment that I will live with that moment and that feeling for the rest of my life. Yeah, there's a couple very famous scenes, like with piano wire in this movie, and some stuff that will
acupuncture needles.
Acupuncture needles are pretty intimidating. This movie is very, very effective in its actual horror here, which I understand. A couple of mine, I've leaned away from that, from the industrial side, and then One Cut of the Dead. So yeah, had to really lean in. This is one that people are like genuinely terrified of. This is a very effective Takashi Miike film, probably one of his most seen, obviously, but one that does not discuss in the pantheon of J-horror as a whole. It doesn't seem to get its due because it's not like quote unquote stereotypical like your Ju-ons and your Ringus, and it is a really, really well made movie. And also, came out in 99. It was never going to be able to stand out when it's literally discussed as one of the best years of film ever. And most people are watching 178 other masterpieces that year. It is so great. And if you can get through some of the extreme stuff, it is competing with your Irreversibles and your other films like that are disgusting and terrifying and crazy, that absolutely are masterpieces, just like Martyrs, like we talked about earlier. It's deeply philosophical, deeply psychological. It's a damaging movie. It is a movie that you will probably think about for 2 or 3 days after watching, at the very least. Tell me how you feel about Audition.
What's so fascinating about the film is that it doesn't set itself up as what it ends up being, right? And
right.
Like, you start the film, like, this is why I think it works so well. And this is why, honestly, the bulk of the art that goes along with it really kind of pisses me off, because it kind of it gives so much of it away, and you don't need to do that. It sets up a film that feels like it starts kind of as a drama, and then it shifts. Okay, I think we're going to go into kind of erotic thriller territory as we get to that point where they're at the resort and he wakes up and she's gone, right? And it's like so you feel like, okay, now we're going to get into like the Basic Instinct erotic thriller thing that where the rest of the story is going to go, and it doesn't. And I think that was such an interesting way to kind of like shift the story into such a dark way.
It's such the opposite of that,
because I mean, the whole first half of the film, we're looking at like the destruction, like how destructive men be in relationships and the power that they wield over women, right? Like that's really what so much is going on in the story. I mean, it's disgusting how these men like set up, let's do an audition and find you a new wife. I think it's like horrifying. Like, these people are the worst. You kind of like want what happens to happen later.
Yeah.
But then it gets into like everything else. And I don't know, it's just like, it's kind of the result of the way that they behave. And I don't know. I found it to be a really effective build for me. And man, it is a film that I will not forget, particularly her lovely lilting voice.
Yeah.
Which is deeper, 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 deeper. It's like, man.
Oh, I need to rewatch Audition. It's been some time. This movie sticks with you. Like, I understand, people earlier that were saying they can only watch Martyrs once. This is one of those movies for a lot of people. God, I love this movie. And I think I don't know, there's something about K-horror that has always been just top of the list for me. But if not, like, this movie would be competing up there because it is so great. I love this movie.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
What are some other ones that you consider talking about tonight?
Suicide Club was one that was on my list of things to talk about. I mean, and you mentioned like we're trying to avoid all the big ones, like all the Ju-on, the Curse, and Ringu, and all of those. But I had in the realm of Shimizu's films, I wanted to watch the whole trilogy before we had our conversation, but he did a trilogy more recently that's based on like urban legends, and they're all urban legends around particular locations. And the first one's called Howling Village. That's the only one I managed to watch, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be, but it was still really fascinating. So I mean, that's like an interesting trilogy of Shimizu films that you can check out. It's like the Curse, can't remember, it's like the Cursed Village trilogy or something like that, but Howling Village was an interesting one. I was debating about there's another Mari Asato film called Under Your Bed, which is a dark film about, it's a weird film because it's about abuse, and a woman who's stuck in a very, very physically abusive, mentally abusive relationship, and a man who loves her from the outside and realizes what's happening, but it's in the weirdest way possible because he's stalking her and has cameras in her house and everything, but he loves her. It's a weird one. It's a very weird one, but it's an interesting one for sure. So I don't know. There's a wide variety of things to choose from. What about you?
The only two that we haven't mentioned at all, I had a couple of those ones as well. The movie Versus, which is not really a horror movie, but it definitely has scenes that are very rooted in horror. It's a weird kind of amalgamation film. It's from 2000, directed by Ryuhei Kitamura. And the story behind how they had to make this movie will explain to you why the movie ends up the way it does, because essentially they would film some, and then they had to go like earn money to film the next day, and sometimes they didn't, and so they had to go do things for like 3 months and then finally get stuff together to be able to film those next couple scenes. There was one time they were filming on a mountain and essentially got kicked out of that area and had to go find a similar looking place on another mountain to keep filming. And it ends up being like this weird mashup of like 5 different genres. There's like some martial arts aspects. There's some action epic type of scenes. I really, really enjoy Versus. It's pretty damn great. But the main one that I feel awful about not being able to include, and it's because it's got some of the best names in all of horror history. Well, not even just horror, but just Japanese cinema. And it's not one that has a really great HD release. So I'm going to do my best to try to speak this into the ether now. 2004's Three Extremes. Anthology horror with some of the best names, like I said, ever. Fruit Chan, Takashi Miike, and Park Chan frickin' Wook. You've got dumplings in this, you've got cut, and you've got box. 3 different stories that are piled together in a really unsettling anthology that will mess you up.
Good word for it.
Yeah, unsettling is probably not even strong enough.
There's one story in particular that I had people walk out of the theater when I saw that one. Yeah. Woo.
Yeah. This is again, it's because it's shorts. Like I don't really want to spoil any of them, but I would say anthology horror is classically very hit or miss. Like most of the time, if you're a fan of Western anthologies, you'll get a new one and you'll be like, man, there's 7 stories. I hope 2 of them are at least enjoyable. Three Extremes is all gas, no brakes. I really like all 3 of these. I think they're 3 incredible directors. So they're made with like this panache that feels great. And it's a hard anthology to watch because it's not easy stories, but it's one that everybody should see. We do have a question. Sib says, where do you know where you can get an English version of Under Your Bed?
That's a very frustrating one because it's on Plex, but the Plex version that's on there when you hit play is actually the Korean remake. So it's not the Japanese one, even though it is. I don't know if there is an easy way. I think there's a version of it on YouTube that has no subtitles at all. I happen to have a copy that I can't share, unfortunately, from the my guest who sent it to me. But I know I take that back. Hold on. I think it was a different film that I can't share, but this one I think is actually on Daily Motion. Which
that one great streaming service, Daily Motion.
You know what? if they carry it though, it's it can work. So yeah, I can for some reason I can't join the chat because it's not liking my YouTube account for some reason. So I will private chat it to you and then you can post it. But this is the Daily Motion link, which as far as I know is not something that I can't share. So there you go.
All right. If anybody wants to watch this movie, there is the link to Daily Motion in the chat. I am saving the link on my end because it sounds great. Man, this conversation, I do not get to talk about J-horror enough, so I think you picked a really great topic. Thanks for doing this, Andy. I know that you're not used to live shows, and coming on for 3.5 hours is a big ask.
Well, considering my show runs 3 hours, it's not too bad. But no, it was a blast. I mean, geez, like we've covered a wide array of things tonight, and it's been a lot of fun.
I hope people enjoyed this. Let me know. I want Andy back. Let me know that if you enjoyed it. Of course, I'm going to ask Andy to come back. Hopefully, he says yes. We'll have to think of something specific like this again. This was a damn good time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
CinemaScope, links for all that, True Motion.
3.5 hours, folks. 3.5 hours.
True Story FM, not True Motion. I was reading Daily Motion at the same time. A True Story FM link in the description below. Please go subscribe to that thing that I can't say out loud properly. Lots of great episodes. CinemaScope is my favorite, but you've got other shows that you can find that you're involved in and that you help produce. Great stuff. Andy, fantastic. You've been an incredible guest. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really had a blast.
Well, Andy wants to go to bed, I'm sure. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out. It's been a long show. Next Thursday, like I said, Severance sale. So we're going to be up checking out the sale, talking about titles, giving recommendations. Our guest next week, the list we're going through is just recommendations for the Severance sale because he and I have been with Severin for a long time. So we got a lot to talk about. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. You're amazing.
Likewise, buddy.
We'll see you all next Thursday. Have a good one. Stay safe. And until next time, be safe. Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share with someone else that may appreciate this.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description